and gentlemen, we're back with Real Deal Talk. Oh my gosh, that just doesn't get old. You guys in the studio, you're too much. You're too kind. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest in the house. This cat and I, we've met on social media, and he's a freaking beast. Literally a beast, physically a beast, but now he's a beast, spiritual beast, and now he's making an impact. This guy, let me plant some seeds here. Anthony Autry, a.k.a. Unchained Fit on Instagram. First and foremost, welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
You can't hear all the stuff that's going on in the microphone. She's like, what is going on here? Listen, this guy, I'll plant some like little teasers here. He was in the federal prison system for a pretty good amount of time, right? His number one thing when he came out was, I want to make an impact. I need to give back. So I'll let you take kind of tease here, kind of what you're doing these days, the impact you're making on not only veterans but guys that maybe addictions, things that they need help, they need guidance, they need someone in their life that's been through that hell and back. And you live to tell it. Not only live to tell it, but you look like you're a specimen now. So you're one guy that can definitely help these dudes. So go ahead and take it from there.
Appreciate it, brother. First and foremost, it's an honor. I'm super grateful to be here. So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, it's God is good is all I can say. It was always a mystery to me. I'm like growing up, going through these things. I'm like, why? Why is life this challenging? And so going through everything today, now it's just started doing what I'm doing, and it's been initially a huge impact just on the average father, average male today. A lot of guys, addiction is so common, across the board. I mean, alcohol, prescription drugs, etc. And so initially coming out, having just a huge impact with just the average guy, which has been awesome. I've had guys come to me, had one buddy come to me. This is a great success story. Came to me, calls me, and he's like on the verge of a mental breakdown. He's boarding a plane. He's just done a bunch of blow. He's been drinking alcohol, of course, and on his way to a job. He's a high-paid union worker, but he's flat broke, no money, and he's like literally about to break down. So I talk him through it. I'm like, okay, dude, get on the plane. When you get off, we'll walk you in, check into the hotel. I just walk him through the whole thing. He calls me, and we get him on the program that day. Next day, he stops using and is in the gym like the following day.
Wow.
Yeah, awesome. Now here we are 13 months later, as of just a couple days ago. He's got 13 months clean, had this big old beer belly. He's dropped the beer belly. He's gotten absolutely jacked. He's ripped.
Nice.
He's sober. He's got a bunch of money in the bank account, just bought a new boat that he's building a custom motor on. Whole life is a 180-degree change.
I love it.
Was even coming with me to church. He's getting in, got back into his faith. I mean, to me, there's nothing more powerful than when I've been going to church with my wife and I've got guys that are getting on my program coming with me to church.
Yeah.
That's just like brought a tear to my eye. I was sitting in the row, and I look over at my wife, and I got a whole row of dudes in here. I was like, man,
incredible.
Let's go. So from that to where I just got on social media and started sending it, and I've had a lot of guys that I've used to watch on like YouTube, a lot of military guys, spec op guys, stuff like that. Guys start reaching out to me on social media. I get a DM from like Taylor Kavanaugh from TCAV. I'm like, man, I know this guy, and just starts giving me respect, gives me credit for what I'm doing. Cody Alford, a bunch of big names, and it's been just a huge honor to get into that field as well. So as you mentioned earlier, working with a lot of guys that are active or retired military, first responders across the board. I've got fire department guys on the program. I've even got a few LA County sheriffs on the program, guys that used to, not them personally, but I used to be in LA County jail. So guys that used to, have to correct me are now paying me to work on, get on my program, which is, talk about full circle.
Yeah, incredible.
So complete honor. And so, I mean, it's just gone from now That military, first responders, it's getting all across the board guys that have done work in Hollywood, working with a couple of guys to where we're getting some contracts to go speak at prisons. I just got hit up the other day to go on a TV show. I mean, it's just, I mean, how good is God? If you can say God doesn't have anything to do with that, something's wrong with you. You know, from
From federal prison to now being asked to speak, helping guys, and now with the military guys, you mentioned the first responder military guys. What's like a lot of those get PTSD, right? Big time. You can help. The program's going to help them as well.
Yes. I'm not certified. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any degrees. I just get that out the way. But just through my experience in life, I believe there's, through all the different programs I've been in, CBT classes, I've been through therapy that I've been through, years and years of this stuff. I've just compiled, a good universal set of tools that I believe can help people overcome whatever challenges they're going through in life, whether it's addiction, whether it's past trauma, et cetera, et cetera. And so just through sharing my experience with him, how I've overcome these things, guys in the military, just a huge thing, for example, is the transition back to society issue. That's where guys struggle pretty much the most. Guys really feel like they've lost their purpose. They no longer have that community, that thing that was their identity is now gone. And so I can relate to that as well, coming back to society, having a new identity myself. I no longer, I'm not a certain type of person anymore. So, it's been great. It's been an extreme honor getting ready to work with a company who does a lot of PTSD, TBI work through virtual reality goggles. And so they're running I'm going to start their program here this coming week. And I'm just always sharpening the sword, man. We never reach the top of the mountain. So
I love it, man. And that's what caught my attention because on social media, a lot of my guests now are coming from social media, and you're linked to guys that I know, like Byron Rogers. I originally saw that you were friends with him. He was one of the best interviews that I've ever done, not because of me, but because of him. He was incredible. Byron Rogers, if you haven't watched that one or listened to it yet, you gotta watch it. It's insane. The guy's a freaking monster.
Yeah, that's my boy. Shout out Byron. What's up, dude? SOG crew, Sons of God crew. That's
Sons of God.
That's
it.
Yep.
That's because I keep seeing his SOG. It's funny that
that's it.
There it is. He's an incredible guy. And I saw you hanging out with a guy I also know, Sam Jones. Yep. So guys that you're running with. So finally, I'm like, you know what? I reached out. I said, bro, you got to come on. He's like, I'm there. He goes, let's send it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. So love what you're doing. You caught my attention. Anytime that anybody's flowing on social media to make the world a better place, to make an impact, because I see all your videos telling guys, hey, make better decisions, get off this, get out, like really making an impact, man. I'm like, I want to get this guy on the show. So, all right, so we've teased them now with a little bit what you do. We're going to circle back around to that along the way as well. But, of course, everybody knows, and we got to go back into the backstory a little bit. So take me all the way back. Let's go to childhood. Where'd you grow up? How was the home life? How did it all start? How did Unchained fit get to where he is now? Like, where did this all begin?
Absolutely. So it all starts in childhood. I think stay off the rip, how – I realize today how important a father's role is in a child's life.
Yep.
As equally important is a mother's role. They're both of equal importance, just in different areas. So grew up in the Pacific Palisades initially when I was really young. Father owned a construction company. He's an old school Sicilian guy from New York.
Oh, yeah.
So he was in construction, of course.
Of course.
And had a pretty good sized company running, had about 60 employees, was building a lot of homes in Pacific Palisades. So everybody knows Pacific Palisades now after they've burned down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accident.
The accident, correct. Yeah. And so there was, made it through, the housing market does their thing about every 20 years. So made it through one, and then the early 90s was another hit, and so had a few houses on the market. He had just finished building one house on the Huntington Bluffs. The house next door finished just before his house finished, and Bob Saget and his wife came and checked out the houses. They decided to buy the one next door, and then when they were finished, his wife was like giving him a bunch of stuff because they wanted the house my dad built. small community, you know, a lot of celebrities there.
Yep.
So crashed, had houses on the market, lost the houses, hit the bank hard. He carried his employees for longer than he probably should have, just because he's.
Which one was this? Was this 08, 09? Was this the?
No, this was 93.
Okay, 93. Yeah,
93.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of impact in the home, financial strains. Never saw my parents fight, not one time. Very, you know, I like to say typical upper middle class bringing. We would go on vacations. We had a boat out in Havasu. We'd go up to Mammoth Mountain, you know, do the family thing. Played a lot of sports growing up. So Christmas Eve, jumping on my bed like the average 7-year-old, I guess that I was, and parents come in and tell me to sit down, and I'm like, and they're like, they tell me that they're more words or less, they're going to get a divorce. And I guess I don't recall this actually, but they said I laughed in their face about it. But what I do remember was the next morning going downstairs, mom was sitting there like close to the stairs, close to the Christmas tree, just kind of with her head in her hands. And so I walked up and stood by her, kind of comforted her and kind of really, you know, okay, dad's not here. And then my brother came down the stairs after me, maybe 5 minutes later or so, and came up and hugged my leg. And so I was like, man, this got real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was it. Things were different from that day forward.
Dad was not there.
I was not there. No, he left. He was present. You know, he would come initially. I think maybe he wasn't very present, you know, the first few months. Then after a few months, he would come and pick us up and maybe take us to school. He would was still really active in. I was playing sports, so he would take me to the park. We'd play catch. He has never missed a sporting event. You know, he's always been there. So yeah. But I was going to private schools at the time. That first when that first year had occurred, I was going to a private school, Carl Thorpe School, which is right there on San Vicente, very affluent area. Was going to school with was in a grade with a celebrity. Her first name's Kate. I'll just say that. And I ended up getting caught in the bathroom with her. The assistant principal comes in, tells her to go back to class, and then as soon as she exits the bathroom, she like literally cusses me out. She's like, you know, cusses me out.
Yeah.
And so I walk out of the bathroom. I'm like, this old lady just cussed me out. And so there was a basketball off to the side. So just being a troubled kid, I picked up the basketball and just line drived it at her, hit her upside her head, and they kicked me out of school for that. So
What grade was this?
This was, I think, third grade or
third grade.
Yeah, third grade, 7 years
And this
old.
was pretty recently after your dad, they separated.
It was during that same school year.
Yeah.
Was in the first few months.
And
after he
this
left.
clearly seems like it took you off guard. They took you off guard.
Yeah, didn't see it coming at all.
Didn't see it coming. You never saw him argue.
Never saw him argue. Not even argue. Never saw him argue, let alone anything more than that. So completely off guard. That incident took place, and then I overheard or got feedback that they were like, "Oh, this, you know, their parents are going through a divorce," and so it was like, and I didn't get in any trouble, and I'm like, "Oh, get out of jail free card."
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, here we go.
here we go. So went to the next private school. So my father, he's been in martial arts forever. He was in high-ranking black belt. He been in Kempo karate. That was like Ed Parker, who brought it here. Elvis Presley was involved. Ed was like, Elvis wanted to spar with my dad because my dad won California state championships back then. So Ed was like, all right, Jack, just don't hit Elvis in the face, you know. So my dad actually today has one of the, there's 3 TCB necklaces. My dad has one of them.
Wow.
So my dad got me into martial arts at a very early age. At like 3.5, I started. Another funny thing, I guess I was 3. I recall doing it, but I was throwing like butter knives down the hallway into like one of those like white foam targets with both hands at 3 years old.
Nice.
So, but it taught me a lot of self-discipline. I knew I had confidence, and therefore I didn't need to, I didn't need to abuse that. So, but I did have the skills. And then, so the next school we went to after me and my brother actually both were asked not to come back to that school the first year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we went to another private school. This next
Did he get in trouble too?
he got in a little bit of trouble too.
Okay.
And so he's probably just following Big Brother's role, you know. And so next school we went to, got in a few altercations. I remember one time some kid was kind of picking on my brother. So, you know, I beat up this kid. He beat up some other kids. And then had a math tutor because I was behind in math. And I was like actually doing work and making good progress in math. And this thing really stood out. It really bothered me. We did a little quick test that they do in math, and I actually finished I was one of the first to finish. And so like you brought it up to the teacher, and she was really amazed that I was one of the first because I would always be last. And so she sees it, goes over it, and it was all correct. And so she was like, "You cheated." And so I let her have it. I ended up leashing a long string of cuss words at her.
Oh gosh.
And so yeah, that was got me exited from that school.
Then you were out of that school.
Yeah,
now are you like
too.
are you still in fifth grade?
That was fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Yeah, that was fourth grade. Calvary Christensen School. And so I spent a lot of time sitting in a red wooden chair that they had in the principal's office.
Yeah.
That was like my classroom seat, I guess. So we were both asked to leave that school that year. So then went to the first public school. You know, don't recommend public schools these days. I recommend homeschool.
Yeah.
So I went to a public school, met a bunch of kids, started smoking weed, drinking alcohol. We're lighting firecrackers and throwing them at kids at school. And by the grace of God, they just allowed me to graduate that year, fifth grade. It was at Marquez Elementary
Fifth
School.
grade.
Yeah, Marquez Elementary in Pacific Palisades.
And that was a public school.
That was the first public school.
Yeah.
Yep. So then went to Paul.
So hold on. Fifth grade.
Yeah.
You were smoking weed in fifth grade.
Yeah, smoking weed, drinking alcohol constantly, and smoking
Alcohol in fifth grade.
Yep, and smoking cigarettes. I'd smoking cigarettes probably like in fourth grade. Mom would smoke, so I used to steal mom's cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just smoking weed, drinking alcohol. Fifth grade, beginning of fifth grade.
Wow. And then so you graduated there.
Graduated.
So then you go to middle school.
Middle school.
Public school again.
Public school.
All right.
So
How'd that go?
now you got kids coming in from different parts of the city. It was Paul Revere Middle School, which was kind of right there close to where O.J. Simpson was located. One of the last times he was seen was with Nicole Brown was at this Paul Revere Middle School. Sixth grade, smoking weed, of course. And so I have a sack of weed, and kid behind me was a friend of mine, and so he wants to see the sack in the middle of the class, and I'm like, dude, wait till after class. He's like, no, wants to see it. So I slide it to him on the low, doesn't get seen. And so he checks it out and then like hands it to me over my shoulder, and I like grab it and put it down. Of course, the teacher sees it at that point. She's like, what, you know, what's going on? What is that? She said, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, it's a note. She's like, what does the note say? And I'm like, it says we think you're hot. And she's like, let me see the note. And I'm like, can't do that. And so she comes up and kind of wants to, I just get it and I have it by my legs here. And at that point, she's got hands on me. And then after that point, I'm coming out of the little wooden chair desk thing and onto the ground. So I like drop it behind me and kick it to my buddy. He picks it up and takes off to the back door. Like she sees I don't have it. And he's at the back door and he stops. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, run, throw that thing. And so she tells him, hey, Chris, come here. I just blew up Chris's name. Oh, well, all good. So he, I
think the statute's fine.
Yeah.
Sixth
The
grade.
statute of limitations is good. Chris, yeah, big shout out, Chris. What up? And so he walks it back up to her, and she sticks out her hand, and he puts it in her hand, and at that point she realizes it's a sack of weed, and she was like, oh, she was blown away. She didn't know what to do. So we had a school cop at our middle school because it was public middle school, and so the cop comes up, puts us in handcuffs, and walks us down because that was right before lunchtime. So we ended up getting walked down in front of the entire school during lunchtime. They suspended us for just a week, didn't kick us out of school. So I just spent the week.
So you're staying with your mom full time here, pretty much?
Was staying with my mom, and for some reason, I guess it was probably they wanted to kind of impose some discipline. So I was with my dad for the week that I was out of school. And so,
but like the normal week, were you half and half?
No, I was with my mom the entire time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was always with my mom.
Would you see your dad? How often were you seeing him?
Yeah, so he would pick us up maybe a couple days a week to take us to school. We would see him on the weekends when we'd have sports and stuff like that. So he was still present, just wasn't in the house.
Yeah.
And like I was originally saying, it's very important for the father to be in the house.
Yeah.
just because natural roles. I think it's a father's a natural disciplinarian, the mother, and so and my mom did the best she could, and it's like you can't. I believe an individual can't help, a parent can't help but have mercy on a kid when a kid is experiencing these things, So, but so yeah, I spent the time with my dad. I just went with him to work. Really, that was about it.
Yeah,
So no disrespect or nothing, but he probably should have pummeled me or something. It's like I don't know.
And that was the week they sent you home for a week.
Right.
You stayed with him.
Yep.
But you pretty much went to work with him.
Just went to work and hung out at his job.
At his job.
Bored to death. But
and he still had the construction company at this point?
Still had the construction company at that point. Yeah.
All right, so you go back to school.
Back to school.
And by the way, here's a side note question. If you have a bag of weed in your pocket, don't you smell it? Or is it terrible weed that you don't even smell it?
Back then, yeah, it wasn't that great of weed. It wasn't some of that real.
Because the good stuff, you're going to smell that.
Yeah.
Right? Like a classroom away.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
It wasn't that good. Yeah, it wasn't that good. But
not that I would know.
Yeah, but no, it's you ended up getting into some pretty,
Yeah.
That went to a whole nother level. It was just, so then kind of thought I was kind of a cool kid. I was part of these kids, and I think that was the biggest mistake was wanting to hang out with kids, wanting to be part of something that I never felt like I really fit in as well. Was going through the Boy Scouts at that point in time. The funny part was a lot of these kids that I'm hanging out with are actually in the Boy Scouts too.
Oh, really?
So people get this, have this impression of like, oh, these goody two-shoe kids in the Boy Scouts, and like we're going on these trips, we're smoking weed, we went to Catalina Island and we stole the ski boat, took it out at night, and went and met these chicks at the chick camp, and like,
oh God,
went to Hawaii and took a bunch of mushrooms and went cliff jumping and stuff like that. So it wasn't your typical kind of like
your typical Boy Scout.
Yeah, we were all put in like our own separate little crew, because we were just like the trouble kids. But most of us made it through. I did graduate, got my Eagle Scout, so got a bunch of certs and a lot of things, CPR, wilderness survival stuff, all sorts of stuff.
And then, so you're in middle school now.
Middle school.
You go back to school. You're the cool guy, right? Where did it progress from there? Like getting into.
So yeah, it progressed quickly on the drug side. Within the middle school years, when it pretty much went from weed to pharmaceuticals, but also got into hallucinogenics pretty heavily. Shrooms. Acid, yeah. Yep. A few.
And that was in middle school.
Was in middle school.
Okay.
A few other hallucinogenic things as well. Some that are a little more hardcore or last longer than shrooms and acid, if you know what I mean. So in some of these upper scale neighborhoods, kids had money, and so one of the things that was pretty tragic was, I think I was in 5th grade. I was in 6th grade. And a buddy of mine, his older sibling, his older brother, excuse me, I think he wasn't even 18, man. He was like 16 or 17. A lot of these kids were messing with heroin. That's when heroin was a thing. And kid overdosed. Buddy's
in his teens.
Yeah, in his teens, overdosed and died. Yeah. His name was Adam. My buddy Jordan, his older brother Adam, passed away. Yeah.
And this was in 7th, 8th grade?
Yeah, I was in 6th grade, and so I think he might have been in high school. He might have been like 9th or 10th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Heroin.
Yep, heroin, and it was real prevalent with the older generation. All like my buddies, their older siblings. It was real prevalent.
Really?
They're all dead now. All of them. I think all of them.
From heroin.
Yeah, from heroin over the years.
Good
a lot
Lord.
of guys. I think, there's a couple of guys that are still alive, but I'd say there's been at least over 30, maybe 40 guys that have, passed away.
From that era, the guys that you knew in that school.
Yeah, the older
that
generation.
area.
Yep.
So would you say, because it's a pretty affluent area, yeah?
Yeah. Yep.
Is it because the money?
I think so. I think the money, and then sometimes the parenting style is a certain type of way with people that have money. I've seen,
which is what? Yeah, let's break that down a little bit.
I don't know. I think it's
you have what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know if this is where you're going with this. Is
Sure.
they don't even really not around the kids. They have housekeepers, they have nannies, like full-time nannies that are the ones actually raising the kid. This is what I'm seeing.
Facts.
Right?
Facts. Yep.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Again, not being present in the home.
Yeah.
And then just trying to make up for it, or with money, trying to patch that wound with money. And I've seen some of the kids with the worst drug habits and are just so screwed up are these kids that come from a lot of money.
And I'll tell you, man, the more now that we're talking about this, because I'm seeing it, like, what are you subconsciously telling your child when you're not even doing anything, you're not even taking him to there or taking him to sports or taking him to here.
Yeah.
You have a nanny doing that. Like, what do you subconsciously? I know you're maybe sometimes some are working, but I know some moms that they're not working and they're still doing that.
Yeah, they're at the nail salon.
They're at the nail salon, right?
Yeah.
With all due respect, whatever.
Right.
But what are you subconsciously telling your child? Like, you're not valuable enough for me to be the one that's around you. I don't know. What do you?
True. No, I'm with you 100%. I think a lot of kids, if they're not strong mentally, if they, I can see 100% how a lot of kids that would lead them down the path of not feeling valued.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, my parents actually don't care enough. They're just putting me off on somebody that they're paying to watch me.
Yeah. So I think it's a huge thing today, especially,
Right?
Unfortunately, the way society has become to where it's like both parents, say if even both parents are at a in a work job, in a place, and both are at work, you're still getting raised by a nanny.
Yeah.
And that's not, that's why, we're not about that. My wife will get into that. And, I've gone all in recently. I even had her, quit her job to where she had a good paying job. That the situation wasn't really what it should be, a good job, but it was a toxic environment. But that's where I'm at. I believe like the way I'm going to do it is she's going to be at home, and she agrees with this as well. She's going to be at home. She's going to help, and old school,
Nurturing the kids, around the kids.
Yeah.
Listen, kids need their mom around.
100%.
We're meant to provide. We're meant to provide security, right? Protect and provide.
Amen.
Check 1 and 2.
Amen.
The bare minimum.
Bare
100%.
100%.
All right, so let's get back to we were in middle school.
Yeah, middle
heroin overdoses.
Yep.
Okay, so keep going, middle school and then into high school.
Yeah. So there's really.
How far did you go?
So I stayed away. I saw that happening, so I stayed away, and then a lot.
Was there blow involved too? Because usually it's blow first and then heroin, right?
Blow was involved. It was all prevalent, all of it.
Molly. Ecstasy. Right, back then it was ecstasy.
Yeah, Matt, back then it was ecstasy.
Yes.
We ended up
So I hear.
We ended up even being on back then. Remember, like Fox did that, like Fox Undercover. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so we came out. I came out. Okay, so they did a. We were going to parties. You'd have parties, and like my buddies. So I got into selling drugs.
Yep.
Then that was common. It's like, why pay for this? I just have it. And
Exactly.
I can sell it.
I
and
can
it doesn't
do my
cost
own for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we would go to these parties, of course, on the weekends, and a lot of time the parents would be out of town in these neighborhoods.
Of course.
And so you'd have these big, nice houses. We'd have parties at these houses. And, we would even got to the point where we were guys that we would go to like car shops and have them fill up nitrous tanks, and we'd have nitrous tanks there. And we'd be selling balloons.
Here we go.
Yeah, and then selling everything else. And so it wasn't very common back then. Like back then you had to have a video recorder, you know what I mean? And so first time I saw...
Thank God, because if it was easy as the phone back in our day,
yeah,
right, you probably done a little bit more time.
Amen.
And
so I see some guy with a video camera, and I'm like, I didn't like it, bro. Yeah. I was like, the way I grew up and the way I was taught, we don't, and so didn't like it, was skeptical, and really avoided, like made sure that this dude, like I looked into it, checked in who was this guy, supposedly some people, so supposedly he checked out, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna let it ride. Saw him again like the next weekend, was okay, I was still cautious, didn't really get on much of the camp, or avoided it, as much as I could. And then saw him like a third weekend. He was there probably maybe about 4 weekends or so. Then I didn't see him.
Are these at parties that you're talking about?
At parties, yeah.
Parties, okay.
Yeah, and he's videotaping stuff.
Huh.
And so I tried to avoid it as much as I could. By the third or fourth weekend, I kind of loosened up, was like, okay, maybe no big deal. But then sure enough, like a couple months later, they did a Fox Undercover thing came out, and it was like when parents go out of town in
And this was
affluent neighborhoods, and
his filming was.
yeah, his filming, yeah, and so it ends up showing my buddies. It shows us selling balloons. I remember.
You're kidding me.
No, it blurred out a lot of people's faces, but it didn't blur out everybody's face. My face was one of the faces that didn't get blurred out.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so but luckily, like my parents didn't see it or anything like that. But one of my buddies who lived with his grandparents, and it was, and so they show him, but they blur out his face, but he's talking, and he's kind of like he had just done a balloon, so he's like wobbling all over the place, kind of fishing out, and his grandparents were like, yeah, it kind of sounds like you. He's like, no, that's not me. And the next thing you know, you had the home phones back then, so the home phone starts ringing off the hook. And yeah, it was just kind of funny story. But
wow. So did anybody ask? What did this kid say he was doing?
just that he was filming some stuff, and
So he was literally working with the.
I don't know if he was working with them or like got an idea like, hey, I can do this and then sell it to him. I don't know what his plan was, but I should have just stick to old habits. Back then it's like you had a camera. No, I'm getting that camera and that thing's getting destroyed. But
Wow, that's classic.
lesson
All right,
learned.
so keep going here.
so yeah,
How far did you go? Your crew?
So yeah, stayed away from the heroin, stayed away from the meth because meth was also prevalent, and also saw what that was doing to guys. So I did everything else.
So people were doing meth
back then. Yep.
quite a bit.
Yeah. So I just stayed away from those two things. Did everything else to the fullest, like no holding back, like how I do everything in life. It's like it's
All in.
and was selling a lot of it. Of course, I ended up having a girlfriend whose brother was deep in the game too. So it was like, okay, I have the girlfriend, and then this guy just gives me backpacks full of stuff. And at that time, so there's more kids coming into the picture from different areas of the city. Sixth grade, I met one of my best friends, who we're still pretty close today, and he lived in like mid-city LA, which was close to like La Brea, Fairfax.
Yeah.
Back then, it was pretty. Rampart District is right there, and so back then, that's like the time when they had like the Rampart scandal.
Yep.
And so a lot of my buddies, when we were kids, we were hanging out. I had a crew that we were from, and we're running around tagging on the city and stuff like that. And we're actually got to be a pretty big crew. Back then, gangs and crews they did their own things. Gangs didn't mess with crews, and of course, crews aren't going to mess with gangs because that's a whole nother level.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we got so big, and we're up all over the city from like downtown all the way to the beach. That gangs started beefing with us, or whatever you want to call it. And so we started getting into it with gangs, our crew. It was getting serious. Guys were getting jumped with hammers and stuff like that. Pulling guns out on each other.
And what's a crew? So a crew is
like a tagging crew. A crew is just they're younger kids and will just be like taggers or stuff like that. They're not, gang banging where they're just, committing violence at a heavier level.
Right.
That's the difference. But we had gotten big enough to where gangs were messing with us, and so we're of course messing with them back, or just going all out with them. And so it got pretty serious. And then you start, graduated middle school, it was public school, got through that. Went to Palisades High School, which was a charter high school, so it's integrated. And there's guys, I think it was like at least 70%. It might have been, it's probably closer to 80% was bussed in from the inner city. So
really?
Oh yeah. So you had guys from as far as like Compton coming in, and then all from the inner city, East LA, all over the city. Kids were getting up and sitting on a bus for an hour or two coming to school.
And this is the Palisades?
And the Palisades, yeah.
Because Palisades is the wealthy area, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
It was a public school, and they had a thing. It was a charter school, so I don't know what their motives were behind it, but that's what it was.
Wow.
So it was a very diverse school, large.
When did you grow? Like, because what are you 6'4" right now? How tall are you? 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, in between 3 and 4. So
And so when did you hit your when did you become a big dude?
I had been kind of tall for my through my classes, and then it kind of took off in high school. I think played sports, played baseball growing up. Did really well in baseball. Made like city all-star team.
Were you a pitcher?
I caught. I was
Oh, you're a catcher?
I was a catcher.
No way.
I like the action, man. I like to slam into
Oh,
people,
yeah.
and I had a little bit of an arm on me, so I was tossing people out.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so
love it.
baseball. Did you play football also?
Baseball, yeah. Got into football. High school, I was playing football. So I was able to. I'm a people person, man. I build relations. I get along with everybody. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I had friends that were in every single group.
Yep.
Although I wasn't really felt like a part of a group. In sports, I was probably most of like the first kind of team that I felt a part of. And so I was maybe like one of like less than half a dozen, probably one of like 4 or 5 white guys that were on the team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about it. Standard issue for like LA public school.
This is why they bust them in.
Yeah,
Now I see.
Good sports teams. So our sports teams were doing pretty good. Our football team was good.
Yeah.
Our baseball team was mostly, I don't care about race or anything. It was mostly, we had a few, but it was a lot more white guys on the baseball team.
Well, that makes sense.
Makes sense. Just, but good baseball team, good basketball team as well. Football team was pretty good. Played football. We played a bunch of inner city schools like LA High, Manual Arts, Dorsey. These were all like inner city LA schools. So, I mean, it was funny back then. So I made varsity. The average school like that we would play, they would have an average NFL size line.
Oh, wow.
Like height, weight, everything. I remember, so like
This is in high school?
in high school, and I remember like they had me. I was playing D. I'm light. I was a lean guy. I played tight end, but then when I got on varsity, they threw me on the D line as like a tackle. And I'm looking at these guys, and these are like guys that got a few inches on me that are like 6'4", 6'5". Some 6'4", 6'5" black guy with a big full beard, and he's like 300 pounds. And I'm like, dude, you're not 18, like you're not 17 years old, bro. Like you're like 30 years old, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Monsters,
bro. But it was good. Some great times. Football was a really great time.
How are things going at this point in high school with mom and dad? What's that scenario looking like? Were you still visiting dad on the week? Because I know I had the same thing. I would visit my dad on the weekends. But I got to the point, I think it was freshman year, where I just didn't want to go anymore. I just want to be with my friends.
Yeah.
You get to that point.
Yeah, I had got to that point. So some things that had happened in the in the home space, I should say. I'd say, mom didn't really date for a few years, at least a couple of years. So then when I was about maybe 12 or 13, she started dating. Dated a couple of guys, not very any extended period of time. Didn't really like the guys. And then she started dating a guy who she had known. She was, mom was dime piece, man. She was from the South. They'd moved around the South. My granddad worked for Shell Oil, so they moved around. But she grew up in the South. Came to California when she was like 19 or 20. And so she was a good-looking young lady. So she was in LA, and so some of her girlfriends, she'd gotten into like orthodontics. She was in the dental field, but she had dated like a few like guys from like bands back then, and so somehow she was going to. Back in the day, in this time, the Playboy Mansion was a little classier. People can say what they want to say, but like back then, people had class. It's not like it's. And so she would go on like movie nights, or she would go on dinner nights. My mom's got class. She's got so much class as to, here's a perfect example. Hugh Hefner was like, hey, he wanted my mom to be the 25th anniversary centerfold.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was like, no. I was like, Mom, you're a gangster.
Yeah.
I was like, you know how many times that dude's heard no in his life? I was like,
Zero.
I don't think very many. Yeah. I was like, respect, Mom. And she was like, well, she's like, I knew I was going to have kids, and I just didn't want to, do that. I'm like, respect, gangster. I like that. So
wow.
She's a G. But there was the one of the orthodontists she was working for had a birthday party, and she jumped out of the birthday cake. you know. And so she was dating my dad at the time. They were just dating. And so, but that was well known. So she jumped out of the cake. It was just, you know, entertainment. And then, you know, her and my dad are dancing. And this guy comes up and like interrupts or asks to dance with my mom. And I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I think my dad kind of made a scene about it. I don't know if he slapped him or he punked him. And I don't know how physical it got, but there was definitely a big scene. And so that was the end of that issue. But
Because Dad did martial arts like for a long time.
yeah, I've yet to see. He's 84 years old. Still goes to the gym 5 days a week.
Oh, he's 84.
84. He's going and sits on boards for promotion boards, you know, for karate and stuff like that. He's all about self-defense. He's doing self-defense classes for women on for them how to defend themselves. You know, going for the eyes, throat, growing. You know, just straight A to B, no nonsense. So, but I've never seen him be afraid of anything.
Yeah,
nothing ever. Nothing. There's been numerous occasions where there's incidents that's occurred, and he's got out of a car, and you know, some guy flipped off the car, and my mom was there, and he went and grabbed this guy and smashed his face against the window and told him to apologize to my mom. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, typical. So you know.
Yeah, Sicilian.
Yeah. So, but
checks out.
Checks out. So he's come to the Lord, and my faith is hugely responsible due to him, and so we'll get to that too. But so that incident occurred, and then he kind of went away. That guy, of course, you know, not to be seen. But so then my mom, she's in that orthodontics field, and so of course, who asked to take her out on a date after she's now single is his name's Spiro.
Yeah.
And so he asked to take her out on a date. They go out on a date. And I didn't know
this
about
was the same guy.
Yeah, the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
I was persistent.
Yeah. Well, he probably didn't like being disrespected like that either.
Of course.
But he was a professor at UCLA in their orthodontics field. He wrote a bunch of their grad books, you know, whatever. And so they started dating. I wasn't aware of that prior incident, and so I'm just not really wasn't really digging it. My father, say if my father was at the house, you know, was over for some reason, and he happened to come by, he would.
This was after they got divorced.
After, oh yeah.
Spiro came back around.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
A few years later.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because they were in the same kind of industry. He was friends with the doctor from the practice that she was working at.
Got it.
He was a very well known. His name was Dr. Ricketts. He was in the Palisades. He was a very well known orthodontics dentist, whatever. So they started he starts coming around. I didn't really like the fact. There was one time I remember specifically, my dad was at the house, you know, where we were living. Things had gone really bad. The house we were living in, the Palisades, I didn't know this until recently, but we weren't able to make the mortgage. We actually got evicted from that house. I didn't know that until recently. So we were out of the house. Spiro actually supported my mom and helped us get a place.
Wow.
And so, but one thing I didn't like, or I didn't have really any respect for was, but I don't know, you can choose. So my father was at the house one day, and he's just waiting in the car down the street. Like, to me, like, I don't know. I mean, like, I can understand, like, okay, maybe you're being respectful and letting the family deal with their stuff, okay. But, like, if you've never, I mean, I guess they have met, and I guess they do have history. And that's probably why he was waiting down the street.
You're right.
But for a
you
long
don't want
time.
to get killed.
Yeah, but for a long time, I didn't respect it. I was like, yo, dude, like, if you're dating my mom, like, come up and like and introduce, or like have respect, like, hey, you know, and like that. To me, that's how I would handle the situation, just in normal circumstances. But I guess there's prior things.
Yeah.
But so I didn't like that, and I didn't respect that. Again, I wasn't aware of everything. But so so I wasn't. He was pretty supportive. He was the most supportive at that point in time. He would take us to like UCLA basketball games. He did the mouth. He was in sports medicine. He made the mouth guards for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we went to Kansas City one time. That's when like Joe Montana was on the Chiefs.
Yeah,
and they had that killer squad back then. So that was really cool, and did some really, really cool things there. So I got to give respect to that. But us being knucklehead kids, you know, he had been over one time. I think this was before that had taken place. This is at the same place where he didn't want to come inside. They were dating, and I just didn't really like the guy. And so I've told this story once before. they came out and they went in the backyard, and there was like a hillside, and there was one of those. It was like had the wooden back. You would go up. There was like a gazebo, and then there was like a jacuzzi, that old school kind of, the jacuzzi that was out of the water and was wood. And so they went up there, and he was standing by the jacuzzi, and for some reason I just was like, I'm gonna let this dude have it. So I grabbed like my pellet gun, my pellet rifle gun, and had my brother grab his, and we came out on like the grass and got in the prone position, and I lit this dude up, man, just shot him right in the head, and he fell over head over heels into the jacuzzi and was like kind of struggling, couldn't really get out. My mom had to like help him get out. And then he kind of just did like the walk of shame, like, back to the house, and we're like laying on the grass laughing and stuff. Like,
this is the what, like a BB gun with a pellets?
yeah. And
which
so,
hurts, dude.
Oh yeah, no, it was, so I mean, I just being kids and being, just starting to be rebellious, kids. So they were starting to date. So when the high school time, they dated for about, I don't know, maybe however long they dated, maybe a year or so, and then he proposed. And so my mother asked me, she asked my opinion, permission, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And so I remember, I asked her back then. I was 15, and I've always thought it was a good question to ask, but now today I probably would have asked some different questions. But I asked her, does he make you happy? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay. I mean, I was 14, 15 at the time. And then I just asked her, I was like, is this something you want to do? I remember specifically, these are the two questions I asked her. Does it make you happy? She said, yes. And I said, okay. And I said, is this something you want to do? Is this what you want to do? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, well, then I support it. I'll back it. I don't really like it, but, if this is, okay, whatever. And then I was like, okay, we're getting married. Okay, cool. When's this going down? What's up? She's like, yeah, we're going to go to Greece and get married. He's Greek. Okay, cool. When are we going? And she's like, well, actually, me and him are just going to go. You and Angelo are going to stay here. And I was like, that kind of doesn't, that's kind of a red flag to me. That was the first kind of initial sign that I didn't really like. Just telling it like it is.
Yeah.
And so they went off, got married. No, it was just them two, which was kind of, I know my mother's family struggled with that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like they're very, very old school. You know what I mean? Your parents aren't going to be there. You know what I mean? Like they're, so.
They want to buy themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was highly frowned upon back then.
Right.
Today, maybe not so much. Today it's, we're kind of going like,
maybe more common. Yeah.
But, so that happened, and then slowly just kind of, so then he was retiring, and this was in LA, and he was going to retire. He was in the Navy Reserves, and so he wanted to retire in Coronado. He had done pretty well. He was a professor at UCLA, et cetera. So they were going to Coronado. I went down there initially, didn't really like it. It didn't fit in. Back then, I was like one of those, I skateboarded a lot. So back then, skateboarding was really like not welcomed. And so I also really wanted to be around my friends. My friends were super important to me.
Of course.
My friends.
Oh, yeah.
And so I put up I didn't want to go down there. I wanted to stay in LA. And so it was a big thing. I didn't know until later in life that they had to go to court and get it okayed because my mom had, majority custody, but was able to get that, so I went to go live with my dad.
Okay.
My dad was living with his girlfriend that he had been with since my mom and them separated. This was the first girl that he had been with. There's a lot of backstory to that too. She ended up was like one of our old neighbors. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but today I will say this, today, the biggest, I think, decision they would have done differently in life on both sides, mom and dad's, is they both would have not made the decision to get a divorce.
Yeah.
So hindsight's always.
Have they said that?
20/20. I don't know if they've necessarily flat out said it, but I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
And through, interactions with each of them, you know what I mean?
Got it.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Moved in with dad, moved in with the girlfriend, and then also, so that was challenging. So they were having me go to therapy. They were having me go to drug classes.
So that he knew you had a problem.
Yeah, they didn't know how bad it was. Yeah,
But they knew you had something going on. Like,
yeah.
what do you mean you went to therapy? Did that just out of the blue say, hey, we want to send you? Like, how did that all unfold?
They knew I was doing stuff. They would catch me. I'd be high, look like I'd been smoking weed, but they didn't know that I'd gotten into hallucinogenics, that I was doing a lot of cocaine.
Or you were doing coke at this time?
Oh yeah.
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 And was that in middle school or only in high school?
I think it started at the end of middle school. High school, it was, pretty heavy. It was heavier in high school. It wasn't the heaviest it got, but it was heavy in high school. Having going to therapy, stuff like that, drug classes. And it was just never.
And the therapy was just for to deal with the drugs, to deal with the addiction, not like therapy, like mental therapy.
It was like they had me go to both. It was they had me go into like an anger management class.
Okay. This interview is brought to you by Real Deal Wellness. This is my wife and I started a wellness center about a few months ago, and this is a big deal because we're making wellness affordable for everyone. That's the mission here. We offer red light therapy, cryotherapy, infrared sauna, compression therapy, halo therapy, which is dry salt therapy, at a price that's never been seen before in the wellness industry. It's a membership-based business. You join, you have unlimited access to our center for less than $100, $99 a month. Real Deal Wellness. Come down, join the club, join the mission. Let's go.
And like everybody in there is like court mandated to go to this anger management class. I'm the only one that's not court mandated.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And but it was never sufficient. Like I felt like I was making an effort. I was really doing everything I could to make it a home there. And his girlfriend was never really content with it. It felt like they wanted me to do more.
Yeah.
And so it got to where throughout these couple of years that I was with my dad were pretty awesome though. Like our relationship and the fact of where we would get up early before school and I would go to the gym with my dad. My dad was, in Venice back in the day in LA. So he was at his roommate was the manager at Gold's.
Oh, really?
Back in the day. Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
The Mecca.
Yeah.
The Mecca of bodybuilding, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Gold's, Venice.
All these dudes, all these, Arnold, Lou, Franco, Colombo, all these dudes used to come over to their apartment, and get their issue, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
get their stuff.
Yeah, get their stuff. And so so dad taught me how to work out. Best one of the best skills. Any of you dads out there, learn to teach. I'm going to have my kid holding onto a bar when they're just an infant because they got that grip strength. Be on your kids. Teach them how to work out at an early age. Yep. This is a lifelong skill. Some of the best experiences I've had, memories that I'll have till I die with my father, going to the gym. Taught me how to work out, form,
And on that note, by the way, fathers, the best way that you're going to get your kid to love working out and building muscle and putting muscle on the frame, because it's directly proportionate to, or directly to relative to longevity and life, is the amount of muscle you have on your body. So dads, gentlemen, the best way you're going to make that happen is not by telling him, it's by showing him.
Actions, yes, sir.
Dad, make sure you're semi-jacked, at the bare minimum, semi-jacked.
100%.
You don't have to be as fully jacked as me and Anthony here.
I'm trying to catch up. But you cannot have a belly. You cannot be out of shape. You need to be in shape.
You got to have some form of a bicep.
You got to have veins.
If you got a bicep vein, then you're in the top 1%.
Yep.
Right.
Got to have veins. If it ain't veiny, it's fat.
That's right.
Period.
So this is a free pearl. Right? You pay for this type of information right here. But dads, because my son, I coach flag football, and all the dads are like 10 years younger than me.
You're in better shape.
I'm known as the jacked football. Like I run in public, little kids will come to me in really weird places. Hey, you're the jacked Bengals coach. I'm known as the jacked Bengals coach.
Love it.
And my son is so proud of that. And he's like, Dad, when can I start working out?
Setting the example.
That's it.
That's it.
Set the freaking example. That's the way it's going to happen. And let me tell you something. The best self-esteem you can have, your son can have as a little man, as a little boy growing into a little man, is if he's muscular.
Amen.
And he's a force. When people look at him, he's an immediate force. He gets respect right away.
Your boys will replicate it, and your daughters will seek that out in the man that they're looking for. So if you're jacked or if you're not, that's what's going to happen.
It's very simple.
Boom.
All right, that was a great side note. That was a great side note. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you're working out with Dad now.
Learn to work out with Dad. Yeah, awesome memories. Getting up early, going to the gym before school, riding in. He had a Suburban back then on airbags. You know, Dad's a gangster.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
Wait, he didn't have the hydraulics, did he?
No, not hydraulics. He was not like that kind of gangster, but it was just on airbags. You know, it was sick.
What does that mean? What's
was clean.
airbags?
Back then, like you had, like it was dropped. It was
Okay.
a Suburban, so it was dropped.
yeah,
it was on
yeah.
some, it was on some wheels, but it was on airbags, so it rode good.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Before that,
So
I
it was
mean,
low. It was like a.
yeah, it was a lowered Suburban. Yeah, it was
my
classy
gosh,
though. It was
Dad.
white. It had some nice. Oh yeah, he
It was white.
Yeah, it was white. So he used to race cars back and learn to drive from my dad.
Wow,
You know, he used to race Corvettes when Corvettes first started putting. When they made those Stingrays initially back in the day, and him and his buddies were the first guys to put the side pipes on them, and then that became a thing, as you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So he used to, and so he, you know, before the Suburban, he had a Camaro, which he ended up giving to me. It was my first car. It was an '87 IROC Z28, full custom racing suspension. Dick Goldstrand, the guy that did the Callaway Corvettes, he did the suspension on the car. Had a roll cage in it. Everything was done. Plugs, wires. Had a
IROC Z28.
Bro, it was bad.
Really?
Had a Gale Banks glass pack on it.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
The IROC Z28.
Bro, this thing was dialed in. It was bad. I mean, had the short shifter on it. I mean, it was. So I learned to drive on that. That was the first car I drove, and,
That's great.
He taught me how to drive, and I can drive. I think I can drive all right. I can do all right.
Thanks, Dad.
This would explain why I've gotten away in so many high-speed pursuits, you know, in my later days.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
It's all thanks to Dad.
Yeah.
All right, so So you're working out. This was now Mom had come to Coronado.
Yep.
Right. You stayed with Dad.
Yep.
What age are we at right here?
So I'm like 14.
Okay.
14,
Okay. God,
15.
still young, dude. Crazy.
Still young, man.
But into everything. Weed, hallucinogenics, blow.
Low, yep.
Just didn't touch the heroin.
Just didn't touch.
Thank God.
A lot of ecstasy.
Lot of ecstasy.
Oh
yeah.
A lot of acid. A lot of mushrooms. Got to the point where we were doing so many hallucinogenics. So I used to go and hang out in Topanga Canyon. And so Topanga Canyon was like where all the hippies moved in from. And in LA, they all moved up to Topanga Canyon.
Yeah.
And so all the kids that were my age, our parents or that generation was of that era.
Yeah.
And so that was actually like one of the places, one of the homes where they had, they had parties up there, and we'd be doing stuff. And like, so one of the houses that was on, Fox Undercover was this one family's house. And so I remember they got a bunch of slack for it and everything. But so yeah, 14, 15, about that age, 15, going through high school. At that point in time, also like on the other side, the other group of friends that I had, the guys that were in my crew, guys that were causing ruckus, they're getting older. They're becoming of age in the neighborhood in inner city LA, where you start becoming from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so late 90s was the time frame. That's when that whole Rampart scandal was happening. The cops were pretty much just another gang.
Right.
We'd be in the neighborhood. They would, all that stuff is real. Like they would literally beat dudes up and then take them to the wrong neighborhood and go make them get out of the car. And that would be a possible death sentence. If they're saw by another gang, they would just smoke them. They'd just shoot them.
Yep.
So that stuff was happening. Or you'd pull up at a light and a cop pulled up next to you, and if like you turned and looked at them, they'd be like, what the you looking at? And cut you. Like they were gang banging on people. They were literally a gang.
Yeah.
A lot of them were gang members too. And so guys were getting from the neighborhood, and back then guys are doing a lot of serious stuff, man. One buddy specifically that I grew up, that I'd known since I was younger and was a little bit older now, is from the neighborhood. He used to like to smoke Sherm. He used to like to smoke PCP.
Oh, jeez.
And he would get on a he liked to go shoot people when he.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he liked to go shoot guys. So he'd like to go shoot people from rival gangs. So he'd get high and go smoke dudes, man. And this was like his thing, and be like, no, like let's go hang out with some chicks, man. Like, no, let's go smoke. I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna go hang out with some girls.
Wow.
And so,
because when you're smoking that, there's like it's not reality.
No, yeah, yep. And so that got pretty crazy. And then so all the bodies were then like all the murders were special circumstances. And what that means is they were like bodies were overkill. They'd have like 6, 7 bullets in the head, 20 bullets in the body, like real crazy stuff, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and got pretty bad. It got really bad. It was, I mean, just ended up being on FBI's most wanted list. Ended up being on there with some other well-known people. So I'm not going to say who that is because I'm not going to put his identity out there. But yeah, it got crazy, man. Ended up being wanted for like 35 or so homicides.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and that's just what they were aware of, and ended up getting him, I think, for about 5. Trying to give him the death penalty, didn't get it. Got like 4 or 5 life sentences with 150 or 60 extra years on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty wild, man. And so things like, so I was like, you know, guys were coming up missing, guys were getting locked up for a lot of time. You know, things were pretty serious. And at that time, so I was playing football. Decided not to play football.
How are you playing sports when you're doing that many drugs?
I don't know. Like young, I guess. You know.
Were you ever like doing blow before a game?
No, I wouldn't do that. No, I kind of knew better, you know, in some aspects. So I wouldn't do that. I would, you know, that would primarily be on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be doing blow during the week. It hadn't gotten to that bad of a habit yet. So ended up not playing football my senior year though, like this smart kid that I was, because the coach wanted me to play, you know, wanted me to play defensive tackle, and I wasn't that big, but I guess I had the grit or whatever to do it, and I wanted to play like outside linebacker and tight end more. And so I was like, I'm not going to play. I'm going to show you, coach. And so I didn't play my senior year. It was the dumbest thing ever. If you kids are out there and you're listening, just go with the flow, man. If a coach wants you to play a position, play that position.
There's a reason for it.
There's a reason for it. And your skill set will, if you're good, you will continue to go to the next level. Like that's just it. So play whatever position they want you to play if you're listening. I mean, because things got worse. Didn't play sports my senior year. Got into drugs more. Got into drugs more.
Not good.
No, got into drugs more. Actually did graduate though, walked, got a diploma. And was out on my own. So I was 17, and I wasn't doing well enough. They wanted me to do more, and so they told me by the time if you turn 18 and things aren't changed, you're out of the house. And so there was an opportunity that came up when I was still 17 to where someone's house, it was next door to the girlfriend that I was dating, and this was a younger lady. She had a kid, and she was like, "Hey, if you pick up my kid from school, help him with his homework, you can stay here rent free." Okay, cool. I'm going to take this option because I'm not going to wait till I'm 18. I'm kicked out and I got nowhere to go. So I was out on my own at 17.
How did your dad feel about that? Say, hey, I'm out.
He was like, "This is the decision you're making." It's like, this thing isn't getting any better. Like I'm really putting in effort here, and you know, and so I didn't see like it was going to be. I felt like it was the inevitable. I think that was my opinion. His opinion was I chose to move out.
Yeah,
that was that. So I was out on my own before I graduated. Did graduate, like I mentioned, got my diploma. Was living with a girlfriend for a while. Was at that place. Things were going around, and then decided to move. Girlfriend actually was her idea. He wanted to move to Arizona. A few of my buddies that I had been in high school with, a few guys had gone to Tucson, Arizona. A couple people were going to U of A. A few people had just made that move. And so I supported it, kind of wanted to get it away from all the craziness that was happening with some areas of my friends. And so left, went to Arizona with the intention of going to college. Of course, I just did the geographical change, took my addiction with me, so I found myself just there doing drugs, not going to school. Spun my wheels for a couple of years during that time.
Did you apply to school? Were you starting to go to school?
I think I applied. I got that far.
You got that far?
Got that far. So partying heavy. So I started working. So got into those first kind of sales I started getting into. Back then it was the timeshare thing. So like a lot of kids that were going to school would do work part-time at these little call centers, timeshare thing. So I was doing that and started doing really good in that. Had bought myself a car. I left the Camaro in LA. And
no.
I know. It's a bonehead move.
No.
And,
that's the biggest mistake of your life that you've mentioned so far.
Yes.
Not the drugs.
Love it. I actually sold
Not
it.
hitting the girl in the head with the ball or whatever that one was.
Yeah.
It was leaving the IROC Z28.
Respect. I agree.
Let's have a moment of silence, ladies and gentlemen.
R.I.P. Amen.
All right, go.
And so long story short, I buy a car for my buddy. His dad owned a dealership. It was just a little Toyota. Hadn't got insurance on it. I'm just driving it to and from work. And this one weekend, we decide to go to this party. Okay. So I take the car out. We go to this party. And back then, it was like a thing to like, oh, I can drink a whole Hennessy fifth. It was like an exhibit song. And I was like, okay, I'm going to drink a whole Hennessy fifth. So do that. I had my pit bull with me that I just got from a rescue. And at this party, this kid's got a little lap dog, doesn't like me having my dog. You know, my dog's just at my side the entire time, you know, well-behaved dog. So I'm upset about it. I go inside his place. I open his fridge. I after I finished the fifth of Hennessy by myself, didn't let anybody else touch it. Open up his fridge, start drinking his alcohol, slam his stuff closed. Apparently, one of my buddies who took my keys from me, I didn't know that. All I remember is me having my keys. So I'm like, all right, let's leave. So we're leaving the party. Had a spare tire on the car because I had a flat a couple days prior, and we're leaving the party. And that song, "Move Bitch," came out, was popular. So that's playing. I'm playing that in my, put a sound system in the car back then. It's bumping, and we're leaving the party, and it's going down this straightaway by Pima Community College in Tucson. It's this long straightaway, and it's a couple of lights. I catch both the lights, and I'm doing like, I don't know.
How did you get the keys?
I guess they gave them back to me.
They did?
Yeah. I didn't know they even took them from me. So I just remember leaving. We're in the car, and I'm in the car, buddies in the front, two guys in the back, dogs in the middle. And my buddy's trying to talk to me, and I remember telling him, be quiet. I'm trying to drive. And so literally as I do that, I had taken my eyes off the road for a split second, and the car just drifts because it's got a spare tire. And you got a spare tire on the car pulls one direction. And so it pulled me, and as soon as I turn back around, I'm doing like a $110 or something, hit this like little pedestrian curb island because it was a big intersection, and just smash the floorboard comes up almost even with the center console, spin, whatever, and try and get up out of the car, stand up, and I just collapse. Like I broke my ankles numerous times because I used to skateboard a lot back in the day too, and so like I knew what it was like to have broken ankles. But I just collapsed. I stood back up, collapsed back down. Cops come. I'm just so angry about the car. They sweat me, I guess, for the alcohol or whatever. But go to the hospital, get out, shattered my right foot, broke my left foot, so I was not able to walk.
Did you get arrested for DUI?
No, nothing. They didn't sweat me for anything. Yeah, which was
how's that possible?
I don't know. I think they saw how upset I was about the car, and I didn't have insurance on the car. And so I don't know. That was my estimate. Maybe they just let me go. But so this was interesting. At the house a few weeks later, when I had gotten out, it took me like a day or two to find my dog. He was at a kennel, and so he had hurt his jaw. And so I didn't know this at the time. So I found my dog. He was at the kennel. I had my buddy go pick up the dog. My buddy Paul. What's up, Paul? So he went, picked up the dog, and saw that it was hurt and took him to a vet. And so I hadn't even seen the dog. He comes back, his jaw was messed up, took him to the vet. Okay, cool. Talking to the vet. And then a couple of days later, I get a knock on my door, and my neighbor's name was Anthony. And so I hear Anthony. I'm like, what's up? Who is it? I hear Anthony. And I'm like, oh, yeah, come on in. And so it was two sheriffs, and they're kind of like in the doorway already. And I'm like, I guess come on in. I had like a 4-footer against the coffee table, a bubbler sitting on the table, and
bong.
I was smoking. Yeah, and I was smoking a big joint, and I was like, "Oh, I guess come on in." So they come in, they kind of look around, and they saw that I was laid up. Both my legs are laid up, and they were like, "Well, you have a dog, And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, we were here to arrest you for animal cruelty," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look, man," I'm like, "I got out of the hospital, this day. The next day, I found my dog, and my buddy took him to the vet the next day. Like, what are you talking about?" And they saw the paperwork, they looked at it, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't know you were in the hospital for the 2 weeks. Yeah. We just thought it was like the initial accident was then, and then 2.5 weeks later, he's at the vet." And I was like, "No, obviously no." They're like, "Okay, yeah, we're not going to arrest you. You have to go to court though, and show them paperwork, etc." So I go to court, show them the paperwork. They're like, "Okay, come back in 3 weeks." Okay. So go back 3 weeks later and show them the paperwork. And I remember the prosecution was a bunch of not feminine women with short hair. and so show them the paperwork, and they're like, okay, we're going to leave this open, but we're just going to leave this case open though, and smack the gavel, and that's it. And I'm like, what? The guy behind me was like, hey, if you have a pit bull or a Rottweiler for more than 3 weeks, they put him to sleep in Arizona. And I was like, what? And so I started going off. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I started calling that out. I was like, you guys put my dog to sleep? I'm like, I sit here, I was like, I prove my innocence before I can even prove my innocence for animal cruelty. You guys put my dog to sleep, and you're here supposed to be advocating for animal rights. And I just started going off on them. I started going off on the judge. I started letting him have it. And the judge was like, stop, or I'm going to hold you in contempt. I started ripping into him more. And my buddy just kind of has to like stop me and get me and like remove me from the courtroom. Well, that's crazy though. It's like, so lost my dog.
They put him to sleep?
Put my dog to sleep, yeah. Before I could even prove my innocence, prove that. I mean, and it was as simple as like, why didn't you even look? Like I was in the hospital. Like how hard is that to figure out? It's not that complicated. But yeah. And
so your friend took him to the vet.
Yep.
And they took him from the vet?
Yeah, I guess the vet, they had somehow they had found out the original accident date was, a couple weeks prior. Maybe they found out maybe he was at the kennel for a couple of weeks. They had maybe contacted the kennel, and then so I don't know, but they obviously didn't look into it that much.
That's bizarre.
It was sad, bro. He was a rescue dog, you know what I mean? And it was the first time I ever had a dog. I always wanted a dog, so that dog will always hold a special memory in my heart.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was absurd, man. Just kind of goes to show how, some work can be done in our judicial system, But I mean, we're all humans, man. None of us are perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right. So now you're
in Arizona.
Yep.
Arizona, wilding out, a lot of cocaine. Not going to school, working. Girlfriend tells me one day, hey, I want to go back to California, and my name wasn't really mentioned in any of it, and I'm like, okay. All right. So she leaves. Things got a little bit worse. Eventually, that was after I had gotten in the accident. And then eventually, I had enough. I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, nothing's going, And so, again, did another geographical change. Went to Austin, Texas with the intention of going to school. My buddy that I had grown up with in the Palisades was there. He was kind of big in, like, the underground music scene. I wanted to go there, go to, like, sound engineering school. So go to Austin. Don't manage to start going to school again, but I found myself had to work again, of course. So I started working for a sales company, a fundraising company, and within the first few weeks, they wanted me to get into management. Okay, you're gonna pay me more money? Yes. Okay. So get into management, start doing pretty well, start getting like the section of like cold callers, those new callers to start crushing it. Then they give me a bigger section of the office, and then I started running the veteran side. And the office went from being like, they had like 53 offices. These guys are from Jersey too. They're from New Brunswick.
Come on.
Yeah, and of course.
Let's go.
Checks out.
And
so they had 53 offices nationwide. These dudes are crushing it. Fundraising for police and fire organizations. And, technically 501c3s only have to give a certain percentage to organizations. And
right.
Organizations are okay with it because they're getting a lot of money.
Yeah.
But however, it is majority on the time a very low percentage. Of course. Nonetheless, so bring it to being one of the top earning offices in the country. Things were going pretty good. They were going to open up some offices in California. They knew I was from LA. They were like, hey, you can go open the office in LA. Okay, cool. I've been gone from family for a while. Sounds good. Get close to the move, and something happened with one of the big wigs, like cousins, or one of his family members. So they were going to just give this guy the LA office. They wanted me to go to Modesto, and I was like, I'm not going to Modesto, man. Like, so move was kind of already in play. So I just decided to go to come here to San Diego. My younger brother that I had, he had started a construction company, was starting to grow. And so I was like, I'm going to come back, be close with my brother, help him with the construction company. Cool.
So you declined the other offer from the other company.
Yeah.
And you decided to come to San Diego.
Yep.
All right.
And
Angelo.
Yep. Yes, sir. Angelo Armani, man, rest in peace. So he started the construction company. I jump on with him. Things are going pretty good. My father had actually come out of retirement and was a superintendent on a custom spec house in like Bel Air, like investment developing. I think the house was like a 9,500 square foot home, real upper end. Everything's all custom spec houses.
Yep.
Their masonry guy, they were upset with. We were doing a lot of masonry work, so he was like, "Hey, you know, I can give me a bid, and you guys maybe can see if you get the job." So I gave him a bid on like a pool equipment sub slab, a retaining wall, and I think like that was about it. They took our bid, sweet. So we came up to LA, jumped on that, handled it, knocked it out, and they were like, "Hey, give us a bid for the whole backyard." Okay, like 4,000 square feet of like, you know, the foundation, like the patio foundations, flagstone, pool coping, mosaic tile. I mean, so we were like, that was like at least a couple $100,000 bid.
Yeah.
And so got that. Started giving us some more stuff on that home. Started crushing it, man. We're making good money. We're balling now.
Oh, yeah.
We're buying Breitlings and
Breitlings.
Yeah, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the partying starts to get harder.
Here we go.
So we go so they're developing homes in Bel Air, Brentwood area. We're going to. They'd have like 6, 7 projects going on, and so we're going from one home to the next home to the next home, just balling.
Wow.
And so we're starting to party pretty heavy at that point in time. This was so you'll remember this. We would come down to San Diego that's when like the Hard Rock was doing those intervention pool parties. Yeah, I remember those.
Of course.
And so, you know, my brother growing up down here had you know, he's a similar dude. Another kid. I've another individual besides only one of the very few individuals I've met besides my father who was never afraid of anything. He had some friends, so he's made friends. He knows people. We were friends with a lot of the managers at Hard Rock, as well as a lot of other. Stingery was another big one back in the day. We were all tied in with Stingery, so we come down for intervention and you know, pool parties. You know, we were going over to Wave. What is it? Wave House. Remember Wave House? Yeah, back when that was popping off.
Yep. So
do all that. We were VIP at all that stuff. We were getting like the cabanas at the Hard Rock. You know, like $20K for a weekend for the cabana. Just spending ridiculous, astronomical amounts of money and doing astronomical amounts of blow. We would go through like an ounce between me and him. We'd have it like start maybe Friday midday, and then by like Saturday that was gone, and so we'd open up another ounce and go through that. We'd go through like a little more than about like 2.5 ounces in a weekend just between me and him.
Good God.
Yeah, that's like for any of those of you who don't
and
know.
And you'd be up the
like,
whole time.
Yeah, we're up the entire time.
How many 8 balls is that?
I'd have to think. I think so. There's eight of those would be I think a half. Eight would be a half ounce or an ounce.
Oh my God, bro!
I'd have to sit and do my math, but
that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, it got so bad to the point. So, you know, I'll kind of speed through some stuff. So, one time we were out at Lake Havasu with some family. Another thing that we were doing back then was GHB. That was kind of big back then too.
Yeah. G.
Yeah. You go right into REM sleep.
Yes.
So
the G hole.
Yeah, and so we were out at Lake Havasu. We were out on Sea-Doos all day, doing a bunch of blow, doing a bunch of G. And I'm not glorifying any of this stuff. This stuff is all stupid. I don't recommend any of it. Yeah. I'm not glorifying it at all. Just sharing my experience. And so that time we're in Havasu, up doing drugs all day. Go inside to the casino, have dinner with the family. Family was there, and I wanted to go up. I was like, we have to be up early to be on the water in the morning. I'm going to go upstairs. We need to go try and get some rest because we had been ripping and running for a while. And he's like, no, let's go hit the tables. And I'm like, no, man, we're not hitting the tables. Let's go try and get some rest. He's like, I'm hitting the tables, man. Okay, dude, I'm going upstairs. So he hits the tables, and I guess apparently he's kind of like nodding out or whatever and just shoveling chips to the dealer. And my dad walks up and sees it and starts cussing out the dealer. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're still dealing this guy? Like, what's wrong with you? Picks my brother. My brother was a big kid. He was a little bit shorter, but a lot stockier.
Yeah.
And so my dad's trying to carry this 240-pound, guy, and my brother drops out in the middle of the floor, starts like foaming at the mouth. Luckily, my dad made a big issue about it and was able to get attention and medics there just in time. Otherwise, he would have passed. So I end up getting woken up, and they're like waking me up. It's my dad and his girlfriend, who is the devil. They tell me that he's in the hospital. So I get up, go to the hospital. I go running in there first. She kind of comes in with me, and the doctor's like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Like, what did he take exactly?" And I'm like, and I start telling him what he took exactly because they need to know how much of what they can give him without him dying.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh no, he didn't take anything." And I was like, "Be quiet, get out of here." You know, she was like not trying to tell him anything. So luckily, you know, he comes back, he's okay. You know, we're making light of all situations. I come into the room and he's like sitting on the bed and he's got these tight like hospital pants on. And we were watching like Nacho Libre back then. And I was like, he was looking like the kid Nacho, a little fat kid with some tight pants on. So I walk in and I'm like, Nacho. And like, so we're just laughing, you know what I mean? Typical.
Wow.
And so it got really bad. He started having heart problems from all the cocaine that we were doing. And then with that scare and a couple other things that had taken place, he had kind of started to back away from all the blow that we were doing. I kind of had, around that time was when first time I got in trouble. I was dating a girl that I had met, that I had known from high school. Didn't know her. She had came back around, found me, and we started dating. Little did I know she was one of those really psychotic. She was one of those really but psychotic girls is what she hates when I say, "Why you gotta tell you she's pretty?" I'm like, well, that kind of justifies why I made the bad decision to.
Wifey's in the studio, by the way, folks. That's why he's.
Yeah, and so, but that justifies why I tolerated the psychoticness is because she was
right.
hot. You know what I mean? It was a
We're willing
trade-off.
to overlook a couple of things.
But little did I know it would lead to the ultimate demise of why I now have a criminal record. You know,
oh wow.
Back then, you know, it was after what happened with OJ. Everybody knew. I'll tell it like it is. Everybody knew OJ did it, and people were upset. Anybody that held any kind of position that mattered, like if they worked or if they were a judge or if they were law enforcement. So what happened is when there was any kind of sort of domestic call back in the back after post OJ, the guy was going to jail. Plain and simple. It was just the guy goes to jail, and then they'll sort it out later. And it got to be known, and it got to be. We were talking about this on our way up here. It got to be made a real power move for women. They could just call and the guy would go.
Yep.
And it got so out of hand. So I fell victim into this circumstance. She attacked me one night. She was drunk. She was a full, really bad alcoholic. I had even left the apartment after she had attacked my phone, and this was the second phone she had destroyed within a couple of weeks. Back then, it was like we were with Verizon, and when you went there to get a new phone, you're there for like 3 or 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
And so destroyed my second phone. I got away from the apartment. She calls me, wants to apologize, wants to meet up, and I'm like, no. Finally, I give in. She pulls up with my other new dog now that I had is in a kennel. She almost runs me over. She gets out, throws the dog in the kennel at me. I catch it, and I start walking away. My buddy that I was with, he was on the run, and I'm like, hey, dude, let's get out of here. He's like, dude, I'm on the run. I can't mess with you. And I'm like, okay, understood. So I walk off, and I'm literally walking down Fairfax Boulevard trying to go back to my other apartment because I had a place with her, and then I had my other apartment. And so she's following me in the car, begs me to get in the car. I'm not doing it. I'm like, look, I'm walking away. Can you allow me to walk away? She's like, look, I'll just give you a ride. I'm sorry. I give in, get in the car. She starts driving back to our apartment in Hollywood. I'm like, where are we going? She's like, we're going to my place. I don't want to take you to your place. Okay. So I get in, lay in the bed, take off my clothes. She's going off, cussing me out. And I'm like, I don't need this. So I just stand up, start to try and put my clothes on. She grabs my Breitling and my other jewelry. I'm like, no, grab that. Starts attacking me. Long story short, I call my dad while this is going on. And I'm like, hey, help me. Come get me. This chick's gone crazy because he knew about the situation. So he's like, okay, I'm coming. Dad's coming. I try to get out of the house. She's attacking me. I find out later I had like 8 hematoma bite marks all over me where she had bitten me, punctured the skin, blew up. Like a hematoma is where it swells up. And everything out. So finally get out of the I ended up having to jump off the patio, off the second-story patio to get out of the apartment. Land on the ground, see the cops, and I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I'm like, help me, please, like, help. Of course, what happens? They take me to jail. I call her. I'm like, this is not.
Was she screaming like, hey, he?
I don't know. I was there, and they put me in a car. My dad pulls up as the cops pulled up. My dad's like, no. Like, hey, he called me. This chick is, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever. They end up taking me in. I call her the next day. I'm like, hey, this is not okay. Like, and she was like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm like, you need to fix this. This is not okay. She was still being supported by her mother at that point in time, and her mother didn't like me, knew me from high school. She's like, oh, that kid, he used to sell drugs, whatever. So she tells her daughter, basically, I find all this stuff out, of course, after everything, but basically said, I'm gonna cut you off if you don't testify against him. So she comes in, testifies against me. There's a bunch of holes in her story. The attorney tells me I should take it to trial because I would win, which I would have. If I knew then what I know today, I would have taken it to trial. But as they do with everybody that this goes out to, if you don't have a record and you're going to court and there are a case that you're fighting, and if you're actually innocent, do not take the deal. Courts get their money, they get their funding, their notoriety, everything based off of what their conviction rate is.
Yep.
California courts, especially, I know LA County and San Diego, and I believe Orange County are all in the upper 90 percentile, 97%, 87% conviction rate. Their goal is to get you to take a deal. They scare you into taking a deal. I've been in court tanks where I've seen guys go off, take 2 strikes, 30 years, or like all sorts of screwed up deals. So they scared me. It was like, if I take it to trial, which is what I needed to do, and if I lost my case, I would do 3 years. Now looking back, hindsight, all the time I've done, I'm like 3 years, that's nothing.
Right.
But to me, I've never done time before. That was everything. It was like, I'm 27, I could go to prison until I'm 30. This is the end of the world. And so they were like, okay, if you take this deal, you'll be out in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I'll take the deal. Like, that's fine. I'll deal with it.
So you had to admit to something.
I had to admit to something, yeah. So I took the deal. That made me a felon. But I got out. They lied, though. I was in court. They said 2 weeks. It was April 10th. May 24th comes up, which is my birthday, way over 2 weeks. I call my attorney. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, your release date's August 3rd. And I'm like, how? And he's like, that's what's in the computer. I'm like, dude, we were in court, pulled the minute order. What they said verbatim was 2 weeks. He's like, I know, but that's not what it is. How that happens, I don't know. Got out August 3rd. That made me a felon. Worst decision I ever made in my life, because one of the worst decisions. I made a lot of really worse decisions.
Yeah, right.
And so made me a felon. Got out, completed all the 52-week anger management course, et cetera, et cetera. So at that point in time, I'm 30 years old. I'm 30 years old because it was 3 years probation. About to complete probation. And me and my brother started butting heads. He started dating the girl that I called the devil a little while back.
Yeah.
She was a tweaker. And as soon as I got out and I came around, I called her out. I'm like, bro, no good, tweaker. You already know I've taught you about tweakers. And wasn't having it. Me and him kind of bumped heads. She did everything she could to put space between us. And so there was space between us. Then I made one of the other worst decisions I made in my life. At 30 years old, knowing all the experience that I have with the drugs, I decided to smoke meth.
Oh, geez.
I was, again, with a group of guys, my environment, the people that I was associating with. Was with a guy, was my neighbor. We went to one of his friends' houses. They were smoking meth. I decided to smoke meth, and I was like, wow, this is great. I was like, I've been doing cocaine for all these years, and like I can just smoke a little meth, and it's about 10 times better than the cocaine. It's like I'm,
wow, not
glorifying again. It's just this is what I was experiencing.
Yep.
So next thing you know, I found myself I'm smoking meth. Was with in this transition period. I was with my father actually. He was living there. This was in the Palms neighborhood, and I was working for an HVAC company because I had separated from my brother. So I'm working for this company. He was a friend of my dad's, but my dad knew something was up, and so he talks to the owner, and they basically tell me, they're like, okay, you need to go to rehab or you don't have a job. And I was like, dude, I'm never been late to work, never missed a day of work. I'm doing my job. What are you talking about? They were like, rehab or you don't have a job. Well, I guess I don't have a job. Another great decision on my end. So lost my job, eventually then became homeless, and then the madness really started.
Then it really started.
Then the movie started.
Where'd you move to? Where'd you go?
Moved to the streets. Was on the streets.
Living in your car?
Yeah, so I started getting vehicles. I think one of the first ones I got was I was at a buddy's house. Didn't have a car before this, but I was at a buddy's house, smoking meth with. His buddy shows up in a taxi cab. I'm like, what's up? And I'm like, dude, he's like, oh, man, this guy attacked me, and I took his taxi cab. Okay. I was like, hey, dude, I'll give you an 8-ball for the taxi. He's like, all right, shoot it. So got this taxi cab. Spray paint it like half flat black. I spray paint like ratchet cab on the roof, and I started using that as a tool. I'm going all over town. This was before people were doing all this the looting that they're doing today.
Yeah.
But so me and some of my buddies, we'd go around to these stores and just go in there, filling up backpacks of clothes, going in there, taking big racks of watches.
So you were going into robbing stores.
Robbing stores. just to support the addiction. So I would, be able to.
How often were you smoking crack?
Meth,
What's pretty crack? Yeah,
meth,
more
no.
or less. No.
No, it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
they're
smoking meth.
different beasts, that's
Yeah.
for sure. But they're both equally evil. They are the devil, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the devil in my meth addiction.
Wow. How often were you smoking meth?
All the time,
All day.
all day,
Every day.
and just be up, and then all of a sudden I would be like out, and then all of a sudden I'd find myself, I'd wake up and I'd be in a chair, and I was maybe out for a few hours, and then it would pursue again for a couple of days until I would nod off again, and then wake up, and it just was
Wow.
yeah. And so things are getting crazy, committing crime around the town, around the city. It didn't take very long. People would try to like come and hang out with me. They'd last for about a week or two, and then they'd like leave. They I couldn't handle the madness. Within months, within not even 6 months. This was actually technically.
Were you in touch with your dad at this point? Did he know what was going on?
I was in touch with my dad. This was actually before. This was right before I had. He ended up moving. He was getting married and was going to relocate to Orange County. This was kind of what had ended up making me homeless. So he's moving. He's leaving that apartment. Before the apartment leaves, though, before that apartment's done with, I'm at the apartment. He's gone at work or something. I don't know what's going on. And get a knock on the door. I've told this story before. I'd get a knock on the door, and it's the cops. And they say they're there for a noise complaint. I was on probation at that time, and so I'm supposed to comply. I was trying to not comply. I'm like, hey, why don't you, just stick there. We have a card we have to give you for the noise complaint. Okay, can you slide it under the door? No, we need to give it to you. I just got out of the shower. I'm naked, man. Can you just slide it here? And they're like, look, open the door. We'll give it to you. We have calls we got to get to. We got stuff we got to do. I said, hey, I got stuff I got to do too, man. Can you just slide it under the door, and I'll pick it up on my way out. I'm late for something too. They're like, no, we have to open. So eventually I have to comply. So I crack the door open. One guy's by the door, one guy's down the hallway. And so one of the guys is like, well, do you have some clothes on? Because I had literally gotten out of the shower. I just had some boxers on. So I had just cracked the door like 6 inches. And they're like, you get some clothes on? I'm like, yeah. And so I go from like 6 inches to like about a foot. And at that point, he says, good, I got a warrant. Smashes his shoulder into the door. So I smash my shoulder in the door, and I got this like push of war going on at the door with this cop. I ended up, I'm strung out on meth. So you get like superhuman strength on meth. So the door, I'm closing the door on him, and it gets all the way to about closing, but the bottom's bowing out. And so I look down, and he's got his boot on around the threshold. So it's not going to close. And at that point, I like turn around, and I'm like, only way is to just run through the apartment, and there's a patio there. And so I was like, on 3, let go of the door, run through the apartment, swim move the curtain, Superman off the patio, over a railing, over a hedge bush, good 6-8 foot drop into the planter, kind of tuck and curl, land on my back. Next thing I'm up on my feet. Then I'm in the grass, and then I'm like and then I'm in the street, and I'm like, oh shit. And turn around and look, he's barely planting his foot on the railing. So I'm in just some white polo Ralph Lauren boxers. I happen to have my phone in my hand, which was pretty cool. And I just started taking off down the street, Like I went to a running coach when I was in high school for football. Like I shaved my 40-yard dash time from like 5.1 to down to like a 4.6. Shaved a half second.
So you could move.
So a little bit, not bad for a white boy.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting it, like remembering stuff my running coach is telling me, like, so my form's good, getting it down the street barefooted. I can feel my toes tearing up on the asphalt. I see some dude watering his lawn. He like looks at me like, and I just like I'm like, all right, pick a point at the end of the road and focus and get there. So I'm getting there, wondering how close this cop is behind me. But I don't want to like look, because I'll break my stride and I'll slow down just a little bit. So I get to the second alley at the end of the block. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this turn in the alley look. So I look, break my stride, look, and he's like half a block back. I'm like, man, I got this dude. And so I'm just, I'm not, these are dumb things that I was doing. I'm, again, not glorifying. But I got him, you know what I mean? So I jump up, go through some apartment buildings, call my friend that lived down the street, this girl, and I'm like, hey, the cops are chasing me. And she's like, I just drove past you. Like, you were running down the street naked. I'm like, turn around and come get me. And so she came, picked me up, took me out. We got out of there. So this is kind of like, I found out that I was wanted. I ended up being on LAPD's, just Pacific Division, not all of LAPD's, but Pacific Division's, that district, they're like most wanted list. They had flyers of me up in the car.
What?
Yeah, just from all the stuff we're doing around the neighborhood,
yeah.
you know. So a couple days later, I'm at my buddy's house, who's in another section of the same district. Long story short, we get out of the house. He goes back to my place to get some clothes, and I'm walking. I was gonna go shopping at some stores, and I didn't like the fact that I was out on foot with no vehicle. So I was like, I need to get back to my buddy's house. So I start walking back to his house. As I'm walking back, this is on La Cienega Boulevard, big street, close to Venice Boulevard, huge intersections. There's a Kaiser right there. I'm walking down the street. A black and white rolls by me. They don't stop, but I like stop, make sure my pants are tight, make sure I'm good to go. Walk, I get to the next intersection, and as I get into the crosswalk, I can see a black and white tucked against a building. I can see it out in my peripheral. And as soon as I get into the intersection, I hear them on the speaker like, hey you, and I'm like, yeah, you're not talking to me. And I just keep walking, and then I can hear like doors open, they get out, and I can hear their voice like, hey you. And so I, just to make sure they're actually talking to me, I thought they were trying to look, and then at that point, I guess they got like facial recognition, knew it was me, and they were like, yeah, you. I was like, I didn't do anything, man. And so I just, they're coming. So I just take off, run across the street. There's a Kaiser Permanente right there. So I like run by the hospital. There's a ticket thing for the parking lot. I was like, I'm gonna run through here because they can't get through the ticket thing in the car. Go around the hospital, decide negative on the hospital, too many people, too many cameras. So I just run across the street, scale some apartment building fence to try and, I'm beelining it to my buddy's apartment. Get over this like 20-foot fence, get down. And then I'm cautious, like getting ready to cross Venice Boulevard. There's an alley that's kind of adjacent to where I'm coming out. And as soon as I get to the alley, I can see the black and white coming down. So I turn around, run back, go to scale this fence. And I get to the top and I can't pull myself up. I'm like gassed. And I thought for sure I was caught. So I like drop down and turn around and they're not there yet. I'm like, so I get a trash can, get up, get over the fence. As I'm on the fence, I start hearing, oh
God.
And I'm like, oh great, the ghetto bird's coming. So run. So at that point, I'm on like a port for cars. What do you call it?
I know what you're talking about. Like
Yeah. And so it's maybe 10 feet high, whatever, 12 feet high. So I'm on top of one of those. So I go and just there's some trash cans. So I just jump off, land on the trash cans, bounce off on the ground, up on my feet, out running, run back out to La Cienega. Cars are, almost hitting each other, skirt, run across the street, go up in some apartment buildings, call my buddy, and he's like still at my apartment getting my stuff. I'm like, dude, hurry up, they found me. He takes forever to get back. Like 15 minutes goes by, the helicopter's over there, there's all these cops everywhere. He calls me, he's like, they've got everything blocked off, but they ended up leaving an alley open for a minute. So he comes down the alley, jump in the van, hide under a blanket, get out of there. So I'm just on the run. And this madness was just taking place for a while. Eventually,
you got away that day.
Got away that day again.
And then where did you stay? Where did you
staying at friends' houses? I'm just all over the place. It's literally like a movie. My dad's birthday comes up a few months later. He was still at the apartment.
You still haven't been found.
Still hadn't been found. His birthday comes up. And so I hadn't seen him in a while.
Are you still doing smoking meth?
A lot of meth.
Are you still doing robberies?
Yep, all that.
All of it?
All of it. And so I go to see my dad for his birthday, and I go there in the middle of the night and, make it to the apartment, not seen, whatever. On the couch, we're talking, and I nod off. So next thing you know is like I wake up and it's him in his robe, so it's early morning time, and he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm so sorry. They've got the place surrounded. And I'm like, oh no. Every exit was cut off. Patio, window out the kitchen, front door, every exit's covered. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess let him in. So lets him in. I go and I lay on the bed, and they go in there. They're like, oh, hell no. Pull me off the bed, throw me on the ground, knees in my back, make my elbow touch the back of my head. Like, understandable.
Yeah.
So then they take me in, put me in a little holding cell to the side. When guys are coming and going from shift change, they're like, they see me and they get all excited. They're like high-fiving. I'm like, wow, this is kind of serious. Like, I'm like, when you guys are excited, you caught me. I'm like, I didn't think I was really anything. I still don't think I'm anybody, but I guess evidently it was some sort of a big deal. So that happens. I end up getting bailing out or getting a program. There were so many different times where I'd get caught, get in trouble. This was just one of the more memorable times. But just this vicious cycle was starting. You know, I'm getting locked up. They would give me a drug program. I'd go out to the drug program, get kicked out of the drug program, go on the run again. Just vicious cycle. Get locked up, do some time, get out. You know, da 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 da. Initially, they finally broke me off. I had given the judge one time, I was like, okay, you got this. If you mess up, I'm going to give you your joint suspension, which was like their max term that they would hold over your head. Usually you wouldn't get it, but if you really messed up, they would. So within the month, I was back in front of the judge, and he's like, oh, you're back so soon. They gave me my max sentence. That was in January 2014. A few months later, April comes up, Easter weekend, and which is interesting. And they tell me to come outside. It's on a Sunday. Go outside, and they tell me to contact home. So contact home and call
Who's they? Where are you?
Sheriffs. So I'm in LA County Jail.
Okay.
I started doing all my time in LA County Jail. Back then, when I first started doing time, 2008, the first time I got in trouble, LA County Jail was a real serious place.
Yeah.
That's where they had, like, the deputy gangs were there. That one notorious one is called the 3,000 Boys. They ended up getting federally indicted. They're a bunch of real jack dudes on a bunch of gear that worked the 3,000 floor of Men's Central Jail, which was the high security floor. And they would just have a mag light in their back pocket. They wouldn't wear a utility belt, and they were just smashing guys with the mag light all the time.
These were the
sheriffs.
The sheriffs.
Yeah, because the sheriffs run corrections in county jails. When you go to prison, you have correctional officers, but in any county jail, the sheriffs run the county jail. A lot of time, guys, when they get on the sheriff's department, they'll have to do a minimum amount of time in corrections before they can go to the street. So
how much time had you served at this point? Like how many little jail terms?
Yeah, so the first time I was there for about like 8 months, got out. Then I did probably like a few months, got out, and then I'd do like a few more months. So from 2008 to 2014, I probably had a few years.
Few years total.
Yeah, maybe less, maybe like 2 years total. I got to get my arrest record, man, so I can get this stuff dialed in. But
so about 2 total years, and this is from doing all your robberies and drugs and.
Yeah, they would. So the one case they had me on anything of substantial, like I had bailed out, got a high profile attorney, and my family had helped me get this attorney because I had gone to a drug program, which was a pretty notoriable program. It was Dr. Drew's rehab. It wasn't the one that was on TV, but it was part of that. It was Pasadena Recovery Center. And so went to that recovery center, was actually doing pretty good. Was sober, completed the program, went to sober living, was fighting this case. I was out on bail. At the sober living, though, met a couple of people, again, the people that I was hanging out with, and decided to get high. And then again, at that point, I went on the run. Or I wasn't on the run, but I was just getting high. I was out of the sober living. I was supposed to be in the sober living.
The sober living.
Yeah.
Sober living.
Yeah.
Is where you met some people.
Yeah.
And you started using again in sober living.
In sober living. Yeah.
And what's sober living? That's a place you go to.
So that's the tricky part is, you want to, anytime you want to like make a change, you've got to, submerge yourself in the environment that you want to be in. So which can be tricky with addiction. So it's like you want to get into, recovery environment.
Right.
And so, but you've got to be cautious. A lot of those people that are in that environment are people that do have addiction issues. So a lot of those people, you got to be careful who you associate with. If anybody, talks about using or they're going to start using, you got to get away from those kind of people. So that I've learned this all through trial and error, started hanging out with guys that were talking about it, and then decided to do something. And I made the bad decision of being a part of it. But I do believe if you want to make change, you've got to get yourself in the environment. Like later on down the road, once I finally did get sober, it was in the recovery environment. Like I was in a program, but I saw how people made it through. They volunteered to help out, so I was always helping out at the facility doing like landscape or something like that. And I just submerged myself in that healthy side. And that's how people were able to make change. But hadn't learned that lesson yet, was out of this sober living. And so I was fighting this case while I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was getting high. Eventually, I took a deal on that case. It was nonviolent, and so the judge gave me an option of taking drug court, which was an 18-month program. Not many completed. A lot of people violated. He gave me an option of going to just a regular drug program, or he gave me an option of spending a year in county jail. I knew that during the holiday season in county jail, you're going to do a percentage of your time due to population. Holiday times, it's maxed out. So I knew, because I'd become familiar with the system, that I would do like 30 days. So I was like, I'll take the year in jail. I'll do 30 days and just be done with this whole thing and just.
You knew because of all the logistics and everything that it's probably going to be realistically about 30 days.
Exactly. And the 18-month program was much more of a liability. It would continue this thing much longer. The drug program was also another liability. The possibilities on me completing that were not very high. I could just go do 30 days, be done with it, and move forward. So I chose that one. He wasn't happy about the decision I made. He wanted me to choose recovery. And so they walked me out of the courtroom. I had to yell to my dad, "Hey, Dad, there's a convertible downstairs with a couple of chicks in there. Go tell them I'm not coming back down." So they
Good Lord.
Yeah, good Lord, man. Jeez, Lord help me. So the Lord was with me through this whole time. And it wasn't until, so I got to mention this part. I was in the county jail, like I was talking about, April 2014. This is when they gave me the maximum amount of time. Go outside, contact home.
What was the maximum amount of time?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. So it was nonviolent, though, so you would do half time on that.
Yep.
So that would be 18 months. So this was just in the beginning. Got busted January. April came, get told to contact home. Again, I was still newer in my career, as they call it, from doing time, my career. I was newer in my career, so I didn't know that when they tell you to contact home, it's not a very good thing. It means somebody's died. Tell me to contact home. I call my dad, and he tells me that my brother's dead. So supervisor for our construction company, he had gotten into it with. The guy knew where my brother lived. I always told my brother from day one. First time I saw this happen years prior to where we had an apartment, guys from our construction company pulled up outside the apartment. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Oh, I didn't get them their checks. And I'm like, dude, rule number one, man, never sell dope out of your house. Never let these guys know where you live. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Didn't grasp that concept, unfortunately. So this supervisor knew where my brother lived, and a guy showed up, pulled out a gun. My brother was outside when he showed up. Guy let off a barrage of bullets. My brother makes it to the front door, lets off another barrage of bullets. Brother gets hit a few times, takes one in the femoral, and then caught one behind the ear. Don't know if he died instantly or not.
Why did they come after him?
So these guys got into it over ego, over pride and ego. My brother owed him a few $100, or I think, I don't know, it was not a very large amount of money. It might have been $2,000 at most. And egos got involved, I'll kill you, and I'll kill you, and threatening each other. And the guy just showed up and did that. And so, it was really tough. I didn't get out until,
when you got that news, what was your feeling? What was your first thought?
God is good. And there's so much more than what meets the eye, as involved in so much. So the day before that, Saturday, there was a count going on at 3 p.m. There's always count, and you're outside. And so we're at count 3 p.m. and I'm just.
And a count is where they
count heads, count bodies, so they know that nobody's missing. So they're doing count, and I got a hold of my anger in my early 20s. I used to have a problem with anger, but I was really overcome with this kind of like anger, or I was just like I don't know the word to put than anger, and it was just for no apparent reason, and I wanted to take somebody's head off. And so it took me a couple of hours to really kind of calm down. I went back to my rack after count, and I'm like, man, I could really do some harm right now. Why? Nothing's happened. Nothing, what's going on? Sure enough, it turned out that at that time, specifically, was when my brother was dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And even last time I saw him, this was, in January, actually, a little bit before I got arrested, a couple weeks prior. We weren't getting along, but I showed up to his place to, I think he owed me some money or I forget what it was. I showed up, meet him, and I just felt like compassion. I always had, so I was in another stolen car, and the trunk was full of stuff. And so, I wanted to give him some stuff. So I opened the trunk. I gave him a whole outfit. Like I gave him like a shirt with some matching pants and a matching pair of shoes. And I was like, here, dude, I want you to have this. And so we, I needed to leave. Some guy was going to the bank. I needed to follow him to the bank. And so the guy had already left. And so I give my brother this stuff and give him a big hug. And it was just weird. Something was like telling me not to leave. But I knew I needed to leave. I needed to go meet this dude at the bank. So I give him a hug, and I was kind of like, okay, man. I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later, man. And go get in the car, and had some chick with me in the car, and I tell her, I'm like, man, this is weird. Like I don't know what's going on. I couldn't start the car, man. It took me like a couple of minutes to start the car, and then I get it and drive, and my foot's on the brake. And I'm just like, well, I need to go, man. But what's going on? Let my foot off the brake. We're kind of coasting slowly. Still, my foot's kind of on the brake. And did that for like half a block. And then I just pulled away. I was like, okay, I got to go. But that was the last time I saw my brother.
That was the last time you saw him.
Yeah. And that was January. So this happened in April. I don't get out until June the next year. So it was. There's so much stuff, bro. Like it just,
And during that time, right there, you were in this is L.A. County, yeah.
L.A. County Jail. When I first started doing time in L.A. County Jail, my first charge was violent. So I was a level 8. They have level 1 through level 9, and those are security levels. I was a level 8. I started off at. So why I spent time on that 3,000 floor that I talked about with these sheriffs. And then I would also go to Supermax, which does exist. A lot of people are like that aren't educated. They're like, the only Supermax you have is like Colorado, or like there is a Supermax in county jail. It's where the higher security is for LA County Jail. They have a housing facility out by Lake Castaic by Magic Mountain, which is called Pitches Detention Center, is the technical name, aka Wayside.
Yeah.
And there's a 5,000 floor or section, 5,000, excuse me. That's downtown. Let me get my everything correct here because people like to oh no, that's not correct. So 500, yeah. They have a 500, a 600, 700, 800, and 900. The lower numbers are like workers, medium security level guys.
Yeah.
And then the 800s is entry for higher security. Guys in the 800s, where I was in the 800s, I spent a lot of time there. I was in the EBI dorm, which is education-based incarceration, which a teacher would come like once a month and sit in there and talk for an hour and leave. But that was also the unit that they pulled guys out of to do Scared Straight. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm in that unit, and just because I've been educated a little bit. I'm trying not to use any foul language or anything, which I don't like using. I don't promote it. Yeah, but I'm trying to be a better man these days. Sometimes it's necessary.
If my podcast had launched prior to becoming a Christian, it would have been a whole different podcast.
Same. Amen, brother.
F-bombs were like the and to me, being from Jersey in the military.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
They'll fly once in a while here and
there.
It
does. It does. Yeah. So
feels good.
Yeah. So just despite me not being a dumbass, I'll just say, I had some kind of smarts to me, and I pay attention. I'm in this place, and this is real serious business. Like you go in there, like when you're
like what happens when you check in, like because this isn't.
I was about to say.
Yeah. Give me the whole.
Good. Yeah. So processing in LA County Jail in 2008. Things have gotten different over the years because our society is moving in the wrong direction, in my opinion. But when you're processed in, initially you come in, you're in downtown, you get off the bus, you walk up, you walk in, it's trash everywhere. But in 2008, you had to look at the ground. And if you looked at the sheriffs, they would smash your head into the wall. Sometimes your nose would be the first thing to hit the wall when they smash you. And so when you're processing in, at this point in time, it was like a 3-day process, which was just insane. You'd go in, you'd have to go through medical processing. They do chest scans. You talk to like the people if they ask you if you're crazy or not. A lot of guys that are not strong men will say that they're crazy and then go with all the mental house people because they're too scared to walk mainline.
Yeah.
So you do this whole processing process that took about 3 days. Now they've got it down to less time. But the deputies would always make an example out of somebody. When there'd be about maybe 100 guys, 150 guys in your kind of big group that you're in processing in, but it's a continuous line. It's a never-ending continuous chain that goes in and goes through this process.
Yeah.
But they would always make an example out of somebody within that section that you're
in with.
witnessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would always be to the extent to where this person is leaking blood and they're dragging them off to set the tone.
Right.
Which, I think it's necessary to set certain tones. I see the way that society is going and things have become more laxed in corrections. And I don't think it's proper. I think things need to get back more the way they used to be. Maybe, there's a happy medium, but today after ACLU, which is like civil rights for inmates has gotten involved. And like, now it's like, you see the way people talk to like, I support law enforcement these days. These are the people that are going to protect my wife when I'm not around. You know what I mean? So today, like, I work and I train and I want these men to be in the best shape they can be. And I support these men training jujitsu because you need to have these skills. You see officers that don't have these skills. Yeah. And they have a guy, I put out a video the other day, a reel that officers had a guy on the ground and he just gets up, gets away, gets to his gun, pulls out his gun and starts shooting at these officers. So anyways, I can get off. But so these deputies, checking in, yeah, man. So it was real deal, man. They'd smash somebody, they're leaking blood, dragging off, and you're like, damn, what's going on? Like, it set the tone. So you'd eventually process in, depending where you're going to get housed. Back then, it was nuts, man. Like it was really wild. I mean, you had inmates that were workers working the tier, like those guys that had the most juice. These guys were walking around. You would check all your clothes in, and you would get like little flap shoes, the whatever flap shoes. Yeah. You get those, but these dudes were walking around in Jordans. They got their clothes, their pants cut off into shorts. You're like, what's going on here, man? Like it was a real wild scene back in the day. I mean, there was like, first unit I went into was up on the 9,000 floor because it was downtown. It was 9,500, and they had turned that into a trustee unit. And I go inside, and the lights are all off. They had racks moved into different sections. I like look over, some guys like smoking dope, like just a real nut scene. The white guys, so verification, how people know that I'm not BSing. The white guys, our section was right by the toilets. So any of you out there know what's up, now you know that I know what's up. But people love to hate, man. They love to, this, that, and the other.
You weren't in there.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm just telling my story, man. Like, whatever.
Nitpicking on the details.
On the details, yeah. Like I've said one time where I was like, Wayside 9,000 floor instead of 900, and they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, whatever, dude. So it was nuts in there. A lot of the time I would.
Was it segregated? So as soon as you walk in, you got the blacks, the whites, the Mexicans. Was that going on?
Yep. Everything's segregated, and it's the sheriffs even promote it. You come in and they're like, "What do you run?" They wouldn't even ask you what you ran. They would just see like, "Oh, you're a white dude. Okay, oh yeah, so here you go with the whites." I guess I kind of looked like almost like I could run Hispanic, and so they didn't know. They were like, "Who do you run with?" And I was like, "I didn't know." I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean?" So I go in there and like, I figured. I ran with the white guys, of course. Like I'm a wood. I'm not a. I mean. So I eventually got into positions of responsibility, but I'm a white guy. I'm a wood. I'm not. You either have a wood, which wood stands for peckerwood, which came across a long time ago for white guys. Peckerwoods. So it got
really?
Yeah. So it got shortened to wood, and so you have woods, which are regular white dudes, and then you'll have skinheads, which are political guys that push a program. I'm just a wood. Not a political guy. However, I did get into politics. I did end up in positions of responsibility, like I was saying earlier, because I wasn't a dumbass. I would pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
They give you they run everything segregated. So you get in there, they run the program down to you. Okay, right. Okay, these are our phones. You only use these phones. These are our showers. These are our toilets. You know, you don't spit in the pisser. You know, you don't spit in the sink. You spit in the pisser. You know, it's very, very detailed. You know, so they run all, you know, showers at that. These are our tables. These are the tables you sit at. These are the tables to play games at. These are the tables you don't play games at. You don't play games with other races. You don't have to sit at the table with other races. Of course, you have your own showers, toilets, phones, etc. And so I just pick up on follow program, dude, follow protocol. And so I would be, you know, I'd be doing time. A lot of time I'd get sent out to Wayside to Supermax.
Yeah.
And so I'd be there, and just being there over a certain amount of time, people would leave that were the key holders or the shot callers.
Right.
And so people that were maybe there for a while knew how the program, I just knew how program ran. And so a lot of the time, like out of default, they would be like, we want you to be the rep. Okay. And so like, or I would intervene sometimes when some things would be happening, or if somebody did something stupid, I'm like, whoa, 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 and I'd like stop it, or like, you know, intervene to make sure everything was cool. So I'd end up being the rep a lot of times throughout my career.
And what is the rep? To explain what the rep
The
means.
shot caller.
The shot caller?
Yeah, yeah. So I'd be in charge of our race. And I ran a tight program. Like different races run a certain level of program. Southsiders, so you have whites, you have blacks, you have others, which are like Asians, Indians, Islanders also run other.
Yeah.
Others run with the blacks.
Because you got Hawaiian, Samoan,
Yeah.
two separate there,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So all the different Islanders, yeah, but they run with others. Others are Asians, Middle Easterners, Islanders. They run with the blacks if something were to happen, but they still also sit at each other's tables. They play games together. This is California politics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then you have the Southsiders, which are like, you know, the gangsters, you know, American, U.S. born, Hispanics, you know. They'll also have like guys that they call residents, guys that aren't from a gang. They're just a resident, but they run Southside. Sureños.
Yep.
And then you have Paisas, which are just the dudes that don't speak English, that are just, whether they're here. Yeah, born in Mexico, you could say, yeah. Those are the races that you have. If things are to pop off, it's Southsiders, Paisas, and the whites, and then the blacks and the others. That's how it comes down if it really pops off.
Yeah.
So I'd be the rep, and so I ran a tight program just because I'm not trying to get in a riot. I'm not trying to get stabbed.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to have, so it's like Southsiders run a pretty tight program. In regards to what that means is like your bed would have to be made for them, like their mat. You have a little foam mat that would have to be rolled up. Your stuff would have to be organized, clean. You know, you're not dirt bagging it. You know, your hygiene is huge. Mandatory workout. If you're for the whites, so I would have mandatory workout, and if you're 36 or younger, mandatory workout.
Yeah.
Period. Daily. Also the same. I would make sure like I didn't push it as hard. I rolled my mat up. That's how hard I programmed. But like at least the other white guys, they would have to have their bed made. Their sheet would have to be folded. You know, there would have to be no dust bunnies underneath the rack. You're cleaning under your rack. You know, because a lot of guys are. Not everybody runs a tight program. There's a lot of places where like white guys wouldn't run a tight program. They'd be dirt bagging it and, you know, et cetera. You got bums, people don't want to shower, all sorts of stuff. But I'm running a tight program. And so things are in order. And when things are in order, there's less problems occurring. You know what I mean? Which makes it easier on the correction side. And so the deputies support people running, you know, races running a good program.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the time when that happens, they'll give us luxuries. A lot of these guys sometimes will bring in a Bluetooth speaker and set it on the bars and play music. In county jail, you don't hear music, you know. So they'll do little things. It's a two-way street. You know what I mean? We're just trying to live there in peace. You know, these guys want to come here and have a decent, you know, they don't have to be doing paperwork all day long.
Right.
You know. So in positions of responsibility, run a tight pro, and I get along well with everybody, So I would have good rapport, good relationship with all the other shot callers. For the most part, there'd be a lot of times. So sometimes the whites would have to run. We run with the Southsiders, but they used to dictate the whites program. Whites would have to kick into their kitty like every week. Like, so they run a kitty, and so it's like they'll throw guys. Well, you're getting taxed. They tax their own people, but it's for a cause. They use that kitty then to give it to somebody or whatever. I'm not going to get into all that, but whites used to have to
Kitty meaning money.
Kitty. They have like they put into a pool. You get commissary. So every week you can order commissary, and like given into the kitty is you give a few items from your commissary. Depending on how much you order, the more you order, the more you have to kick into the kitty, and so. Then they would have a large amount of store that they would use for whatever purposes. That could be sold. Somebody would buy it. They use that money. It's very organized. It's just, goes all the way up. But we fought over the fact that the whites and the Southsiders went at it to say that we don't kick into your kitty. You know what I mean? We're our own. We'll run together. If it pops off, we're running together. But, you're not dictating our program. And so, like, I knew this happened. This kicked off. This was a riot. This occurred. But still, it would, sometimes the whites, depending where you were at, it didn't happen all the time, but this did happen. The Southsiders would push up and try to dictate your program, at least dictate it. Maybe if you didn't have to kick into the kitty, but they would at least try and tell you what to do.
Right.
And I wasn't having it. Just because we're not. I'm not gonna follow. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be responsible for my people because I'm not trying to. Whatever I don't trust you, and whatever, I'm not trying to get into whatever kind of, ulterior motives you got going on, because there's always stuff going on. So, some guys, some shot callers weren't happy about that. They didn't like the fact that they couldn't dictate my program. And so, this is all good stuff. This stuff I haven't told before, by the way. So
Here we go.
yeah. But
That started a riot.
Well, it can't. Well, so these shot callers, a lot of time they wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like me. And so, but nothing can just take off. Like, they can't just, they can, but if they do so and they don't get permission, if things don't, there's not a valid reason, it's all about keeping order. You know what I mean? So it's like those guys could end up having trouble. Like, if they decide to just kick it off on us and jump us because there's way more of them than there is of us. There's not very many white guys usually. We're usually outnumbered by, for sure, the Southsiders. Blacks are sometimes about equal. Pisces, there's not too many. Southsiders have usually the most amount of numbers.
Yep.
But they got to have valid reasons. So, like, there was one time specifically, this one dude, he was, he was from a neighborhood in LA and didn't like me. And so he went to his higher ups to kind of just make this situation known, whatever. And so, the guys that I grew up with on the street were from a pretty serious gang, like very, very well known, one of the biggest LA gangs. For Hispanics.
Yep.
And like I was saying before, one of my buddies were putting in major work for the neighborhood. So it's like he's really well known, and so I just, decided to talk to people. Hey, look, man, like, hey, look, this is who I am. This is this is where I'm from. This is who knows me. This is who I grew up with. I'm just running our program over here. Like, this guy's trying to dictate our program, and I'm just doing our thing. We support you. Like, you guys, if something cracks off, I got you, but like, I'm not. And they were like, they looked into it, checked into it. They're like, okay, for sure. And then they would tell this dude, hey, this dude's good. You don't be doing
Because of your connections.
Yeah, and everything checked out. So, but
And then how long before you got out there? Like, did you do that?
So this time happened on that 18-month stretch.
Yeah.
So I was in the 800s. I was in that EBI unit for a majority of the time. I think it was maybe like 14 months, and then my security level dropped one. I went from an 8 to a 7. So then I went from there to medium north, which is still at Wayside facility. It's another pretty active facility because it's higher. It's a lot of stuff popping off there.
Yeah.
At medium north. So I went there. I was there for a few months, and my points level dropped again, and I ended up at South. And so,
how often are you being changed?
Not very frequently. Security levels don't drop very quickly in LA County Jail. It's from the moment you go in there, it just starts tallying. So if you get any kind of write-ups or anything, it's progressively slowly going to drop. but it doesn't drop quickly. So eventually I've been doing enough time. So that's this one time when I found out my brother was murdered, I was in South facility because my points had eventually dropped, hadn't gotten in any trouble. So that's where I was. I was at South facility, which is like a Camp Snoopy. It's a pretty good place to be. It's where all the good jobs are at. They got a sand volleyball court. It's not too bad.
Right.
So I got out following year in June 2015. Wanted to go. I was finally off probation, off paperwork. First time that had happened since 2008, and this is 2015.
Yep.
So I want to go down to get out of LA, man. I'm like good on LA now. Go to San Diego, come down to San Diego to be around my mom, help support her since my brother passed away. So I was going to start working for the restaurants. They had opened a couple restaurants down here in San Diego. My mom and Spiro, her husband.
Yeah.
It was her idea. When they went to Greece, she was fond of the food. So when they came back in Coronado, there was a open spot on the ferry landing. So they opened a Mediterranean spot on the ferry landing, which is still there till today. We got to go get some food there.
Yes. What's the name of it?
Spiro's. It's called
Spiro.
Spiro's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So I came back with going to help them work at the restaurants. So me and Spiro, our relationship has never really been that good. You know, it's gotten better. There's been some real interesting things that have been happening recently to where, you know, I think that, you know, maybe there's some change that's happened there, you know, which I would like to think, I'd like to believe, and I would like to trust, honestly, from the bottom of my heart.
Yep.
So I went to go to work at the restaurants, was there a couple of weeks, and then I was no longer welcome to work at the restaurants.
What happened?
A story got fabricated about me. I went there, and the manager that was there, I got a pretty good BS radar just from doing time. That's why sheriffs have to do time in custody, is they learn how to profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And so that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And so it's a good skill to have. So I met this general manager when I came out. My mom's like, my mom has known that I've always been a pretty decent judge of character. She's like, I want you to meet the general manager. Okay. So I go meet her, and, you know, everything appears well. Everything that comes out of her mouth says well, but I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And like, she was married to a fisherman. She lived on board with him for X amount of years. Now they're no longer together. I'm like, I know fishermen. I know their habits. I know what they do, like what she's witnessed, what she's experienced. Like, if you're a chick hanging out on a fisherman boat, like, you didn't seen it all, heard it all, and probably done it all. And I'm like, okay, well, that just already off the rip is a negative. And then it didn't check. She asked me, so what do you think? And I'm like, nah, something doesn't check out. I was like, something smells fishy. Yeah, I just was cracking on due to her, whatever. She was like, okay. And so they fabricated a story about me, and Spiro no longer wanted me at the restaurant. Was there for a couple of weeks. So she had gotten me an apartment, had me set up. I had an apartment. My mom's looked out for me numerous times throughout my life. Had an apartment, had gotten me a car. I got a car, had the job, but then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, no job, got an apartment, got a car.
Can you say what story they fabricated?
Yeah, so it was, you know, anybody who knows me knows, like, you know, like, that's why I don't have any problems putting any of my stories out there, like the story about my initial girlfriend that did that, because anybody who knows me, like, I've put hands on dudes for far less than putting hands on a female. You know what I'm saying?
And this interview is brought to you by Real Deal Wellness. This is a company my wife and I just launched, Real Deal Wellness. It's a membership base. We're charging the lowest price that has ever been offered for wellness in San Diego in history. You're going to get cryotherapy, red light therapy, infrared sauna, compression therapy, and halotherapy, which is dry salt therapy. Real Deal Wellness. You can go to our website, realdealwellness.net. Also, subscribe to the channel, share it, like it. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a nice day.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, not on my watch. You know what I mean? I was raised by my mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anybody knows me, they're not. I don't care. You know, they know me, and so they know what's up. So I was at the restaurant, and I was on a smoke break. I was on the side of the building, and had been, you know, on shift. So my shirt came untucked. So I unbuttoned the top of my pant and my zipper, and I'm tucking my shirt in. It's not like I got my pants down or anything. I'm just tucking my freaking retucking my shirt in. Lady comes out of the building. And this was on the side, and she was leaving work, and she sees me, and I'm like, oh, okay, see you later. She's like, oh, okay, see you later. She's not like, oh my God, or anything like that. It's not even, I'm just freaking tucking in my shirt. But somehow they had found out that had happened. And so the manager said that I was on the side of the building with my pants down around my ankles, whatever. And I'm like, really? I'm like, seriously? Like I don't like it. It kind of bothers me that you would think that I would actually do something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's like, I don't care about the situation or the problem. I'm not like whatever. That's fine. Like life continues. It's not a big deal. But like it really just kind of bothers me. Like you would even entertain some nonsense like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was it. And then he heard about it, and then eventually she ends up getting fired because she was drinking on the job, all sorts of stuff. But also,
How come they didn't take your word over theirs?
I don't, you know, I'm a kid that got in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was a little. My mom knew what's up. Like I told my mom, like, my mom really, like, you really think I would do something? She's like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, okay. I was like, but you know, so whatever. It was all said. Any kind of reason, I think, at that point in time for, you know, me, like I said, our relationship hasn't been the greatest, Spiro and I's, throughout the past. So any kind of thing that would be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, you're done. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because of your rep.
yeah, because of my rep and just everything, and you know, him and my dad haven't had the greatest past either, and so it's probably hard for him, you know, with me being my dad's son, you know, whatever.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So
So what'd you do from there?
found myself smoking meth shortly after that.
Oh, really?
Again. Yeah. And then San Diego kind of turned into a movie scene just like LA did. Yeah.
Same stuff.
Same stuff. A lot of stolen cars. Had it gotten so bad, man. I had a bag, like one of those velvet, kind of like Crown Royal bags, and those big velvet bags, about this big, and it was full of key fobs of cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had streets with cars parked up all up and down the streets. And I was like, oh, what kind of car do I feel like driving today? Like, okay, you know.
From stolen cars.
Yeah, just ridiculous. There was all sorts of hacks of ways to get cars through rental companies and all sorts of, you know, when you're involved in the tweaker lifestyle, that's what people are doing. They're plotting and scheming, and they're doing fraud and all that nonsense.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, nonsense, bro. Just like, I don't support that lifestyle. I'm very against that lifestyle. Like I'm anti that lifestyle, you know.
But you were in it.
I was in it, yeah, and I didn't. And like again, you do anything, you do it full tilt, you know. So, long story short, with San Diego, I'll just end it to where it ended. Was October 5th, 2018. Get a call. I'm up right here. I was at the Walmart, you know, that's up here.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm at the Walmart. Get a call from. So this is kind of good. You kind of. And they called from a guy that I knew that was at a rental company in downtown. He said, oh, I got this, you know, I was waiting for this one specific car to come in. And so he tells me they got the car in. Okay, cool. I was like, but it's Friday at like 5:30. He's like, we close at 6. There's no way I'm making it from here on Friday at 5:30 to be in downtown by 6. It's just not happening. But, you know, okay, cool. I'll be there. So I get in the car.
And this is to steal a car.
Yeah, there was a hack to where it was like you could use a card and then act like you called your bank and have it on speakerphone, and somebody would act like they're the bank, and then they would give this person, be like, oh, we shut your card off because we thought it was fraud. Let me talk to the person working there. Then they would put them on the phone with that person, and there was these codes that somebody could put in the computer, and it would authorize the card to be used. And so then the card would be authorized to use, even though the card isn't working. And then you would get the car, and then you would just renew the contract.
And this card was a stolen card.
No, it was actually one of my own cards.
One of your own? Okay.
One of my own cards. Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, but so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this car I had was an Audi. It was a newer Audi. It was all tricked out, man. It was like had a turbo on it. The engine was heat wrapped. It was like it was a sweet car, man. I like cars, but so you get in the car.
So you get down there.
Have this chick with me, and her mom's with me too. And
Mom.
Oh no, no, mom was in the car. And so get in the car, get on the freeway, and of course it's bumper to bumper. And so like I grew up in LA, bro. If you grow up driving in LA, you can drive anywhere.
Yeah.
Hands down. You know, you learn to be defensive yet highly aggressive.
Right.
And so I just get on the shoulder.
Shoulder, as I say. Right.
Yeah, shoulder. Drive from here all the way to downtown on the shoulder. People are trying to stop me. I'm up on the side, you know, whatever. Get to downtown, and coming over the bridge, like on 6th Street, there's like the 7-Eleven there. You come into downtown, and I see one black and white, and I see him. I'm like, okay, so I get over a lane away from him, but he gets out and he comes behind me. He doesn't light me up or anything. And then I get to the next intersection, and I hear like a swarm of cop cars. So I look over, and it's like more than, it was probably like 8 or 9 cop cars like coming my direction. So I knew they were coming for me. So I start going, you know.
You take off.
There's people everywhere. It's Friday.
And your girlfriend and her mother in the car.
Yep.
All right. Here we go.
And she was strung out. This girl, she was a drug addict. So I mean, you know, not hanging out with most high class people here. But
was the mom strung out?
No, she wasn't really strung out, but she was just, you know, they were just, you know, I don't know what you want to say.
Yeah.
So I started going.
By strung out, are we talking smoking meth?
Yeah, she was actually a heroin addict. And the mom, I don't know about the mom, but so
wow.
We started going.
So you're in a chase now.
Yeah, I get it. I'm downshifting. It's time to go. And so there's people everywhere. It's Friday downtown. You know, there's people crossing everywhere. There's cars everywhere. It's Friday afternoon. Everyone's getting off. And so I'm swerving around people, downshifting, you know, hit a couple of turns, get around them, actually get up to, I forget the name of the street, but then it goes on to, you can get on the 5 entrance by the gas station over there. Yeah.
I know where you're at.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually come up 5th and I hit a left on that street that ends up connecting. And, you know, there's a bunch of dips on that street.
Yes.
Yes. And so I'm in this Audi and I'm trying to take them as hard as I can without destroying the car because the car is on a suspension. It's got rims on it. It's all tricked out, not meant for bumps. And so I'm taking it as quick as I can. But I'm getting distance on them and then get to the entrance and it's bottlenecked, but I somehow slip in there. And then it bottlenecks behind me, so they all get stuck, and I get it. I'm moving. I'm just getting on the freeway, but I'm moving. I'm at like 120, 130 pretty quick. And some dude, man, in a van, comes into my lane, and I got a car on my other side, so I got nowhere to go. And I favor this lane as much as I can, and this guy just hits me, and it pinches the tire, and it's got these low-profile tires. The tire pops.
Oh yeah.
Struggle to keep it on the road. I exit sassafras, keep it on the road, and as soon as I get like off the exit by the first street, throw it in park. She's already out of the car. I had to be telling the mom to like sit down and put her seatbelt. Like as I'm driving, she's like jumping all over the back seat. I can't see the rear view mirror. I'm like yelling at her, put your seatbelt on, get out of like, I can't see. But we hit park, pull it off to the side of the road. Don't park, just pull off the side of the road, throw it in park. She's out, I'm out, I run across the street, hopping fences on that hillside right there, you know, hopping fences on houses. First fence I hit has barbed wire on it. I'm like, what the hell? Get over it. It like rips my shorts, cuts me a little bit. Get over it. Go backyard, hop another fence. And my plan is to get down back to the freeway and run across the freeway. If I can run across the freeway, I'm good. I'll get away. But as I get back closer towards the freeway, then there's like a whole row of cop cars. I mean, there's like more than 10 of them,
God.
more of 10 of them lined up. Because I guess the call went in while I was on this drive downtown, so they had everybody on it. Later I found out that they were filming it actually, and it's in part of some kind of film that they're doing. But so I almost I see all the cars, so I can't go that way. I backtrack, start hopping fences again. I start getting close to the original property. I'm in the backyard, and I can hear them coming. So I go and I pull a crawl space out from a house. I'm like looking, where can I go? I see a crawl space. I'm like, that's good. Pull the grate off, shimmy up under there, try and pull the grate back on, and it won't go flush. I try a few times, it won't go flush. So I'm like, and I knew that was not good. I'm like, if it's not flush, they're going to see that. But whatever, I just had to let it be not flush. But I'm grateful they saw it. You know, I shimmy under the house. Long story short, I see boots come, they go away, they come, they go. 10, 15 minutes goes by, one pair of boots comes, and he sees that it's not flush, gets under there, flashes a light, pulls me out, you know, pat me down. I had the key to a Bentley in my pocket I was going to go get, like, just madness, dude. And
that was the car you were going to get?
No, it was a different car that I was going to get. I was going to go get a different car that time, but I just had it in my pocket, and they were blown away. They're like, what is this guy doing with a key to a Bentley on him, you know, like, so that was it. That was
and what they say they were arresting you for?
So it was a stolen car. So it was a stolen car, but it turned in also to like felony evading, felony resisting. I was like 3 or 4 felony charges on that case.
Did they hit you with kidnapping?
No.
I was going to say because the
girl, yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were all willing and all that, But
So felony, this car stealing, the whole nine.
yep, whole nine, 3 or 4 felony charges. But that was my sobriety date, bro.
That was it.
That was it. October 5th, 2018.
This is not that long ago.
Yeah,
Realistically.
7 years come October.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So I suffered my addiction.
Did you go right to jail that day?
Oh yeah, straight to jail. I was in the back of the cop car, and I'm like nodding off, falling asleep in the back of the cop cars, as it would always happen. I'd be on a run. Next thing you know, I'd find myself in the back of a cop car, but I'd be falling asleep. And so I'm falling asleep in the cop car. They take me in, and processing, all that, San Diego jail. And so it's about November. A month or so goes by. It takes me, I'm gone to court a couple of times. I'm looking at, quite a few charges, looking at prison time. It's about November, and my brother's birthday was the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November. And so I'm going to church service in the unit where I'm at. And there was this dude there, his name was Paul, and he was a longshoreman from Seattle. And this dude, man, the Holy Spirit was just alive in this dude, man. I mean, he was spitting fire, bro. And I broke down. Like, I never broken down in my life, dude. Like, I was, sad and hurt, and like when my brother died, and maybe roughly about it, when I was too young when my parents divorced. But so I never broken down. I broke down, bro. Just like broke down. I was like, whoa, this is what's going on here, man.
What did he? Do you remember what he said to you?
No. Just he was just. There was a couple of times he came to minister in there, and but I was already really working on my relationship with God. I was in a cell. I had my own cell because I was the rep for the unit, and
This time.
Yeah, this time. And
so they already knew your reputation.
No, they didn't know me. This was San Diego County.
Okay.
This was different, but just through my experience there, things were taking place. The guy, I'd always, have my opinion. Like, if things were going on, I'd be like, yo, like, this is what's like, so I'd always be in pretty good communication with the person who was the rep. And so a lot of the time he would like kind of like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? And so I'd always be kind of assisting with things. And then sometimes if that person left, then I would end up just being the rep. So I had my own stuff, but so I was really working on my relationship with God. Throughout the time ever since the first time I got busted, the first time I got in trouble, like I mentioned earlier, and I went to that crazy unit with the lights off, I went to my rack, and God's always been with me, man, the entire time. And rack I went to, there was a purpose-driven life was on my rack, my assigned rack. And I was like, what is this? Picked it up. And so got into that, talked to my dad. He was like, yeah. I was like, what do I do? He's like, just read the New Testament. So I started really getting into reading the Word when I first got in trouble in 2008. So here we are, 2018. And all the time that I'd be locked up, I'd never use. I was always sober. And I would always be reading my Bible. I'd always be up early in the morning, read my Bible, get my study in, get my workout in. I was programming, I was routine, which I'm still all about today.
Yep.
So I've developed, through all these years, a pretty regimented, structured routine, and so I was already working really, relationship was really strong. My frequency, I'm dialed in at this point in time in San Diego jail. And so, I read this book. It was called Two Chairs, and I forget the author. It was a very thin book, but it was talking with God. And it was like, just think as if there's two chairs and God's sitting in the other chair. And I was like, okay, so I did it in my cell. I'd be sitting on the little stool with a little desk, and the only other chair there is the toilet. So I'd just be sitting there talking to God like he's sitting there on the toilet. Because, we would sit on the toilet all the time. It'd just be the only chair you have in the cell. And so really, relationship was really getting dialed in, man. Like, and so had this occurrence at church, and then I'm in my cell, and there was one day specifically, I'm in my cell, and I'm talking to God, and he's like, it was almost audible. It was pretty much audible. He was like, I have something better for you. Like, trust me, like follow me. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. I'm all in, I was like, it would be cool if we could get a program and I don't have to go to prison, And it was interesting because, around that time as well, I had a feeling about feds. A thought came into my mind about the feds, and I'm like, that's interesting. What is that about? And I'm like, well, hopefully they don't come after me. Disregard that thought. So we're going to court, and cut short some time. A few court trips later, I'm going to court. It's the final day I'm going to court. I'm on the bus and talking to God, and God's like, I'm like, man, what, God, let's get a program, man. Like, let me just move forward in my life. And I was like, give me some sort of sign you're with me, man. And we passed a church. I was like, all right, man. We're on the 94, and we're coming out the facility. I was at George Bailey facility, which is out in Autry. So we're taking the 94, and we're getting close to downtown. I pass a church. I'm like, all right, God, I hear you. I was like, you know me, man. I'm hard-headed, bro. I need another sign. Give me a second sign. He's like, all right. And so we passed a second church, and something I left out earlier is my brother, when he was alive, he had a buddy who was really close to him. He was like an older brother, but I was in LA. I wasn't around. And so his buddy had died from a heroin overdose. Mm-hmm. And my brother said he always found his buddy Chad in crows. There would always be crows around. He said he felt a real kind of tie to it. And I know crows have, there's a negative, thing to them, but I don't believe it. Everything's good versus evil, bro. And God created everything. Yeah. The enemy just tries to put their spin and take things. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm not having any of it, bro. Crows are good. Everything's good. I'm not allowing evil to, invert anything, period.
Yep, the enemy.
Absolutely. So he always saw there was things with crows. And then when my brother passed, which was interesting, where I was at in that facility, there was crows around. And my brother also has a daughter, and I don't know if he mentioned something to her about crows, but when she passed, she found a crow's feather on her car. Yeah, there's just crazy stuff, man. Wow. And it's second church we passed, bro. Cross on top of the church, crow sitting on top of the cross.
Wow.
Okay. All right, God, I know you're talking, homeboy. Let's get it, man. Go to court, and the judge is like, I'm looking, I got prison terms there, bro. Like, multiple felonies and everything. And he's like, you know what? He's like, for some reason, he's like, I feel like I want to offer this man a program. He's like, a drug program. He's like, sir, how would you feel about taking a program? I'm like, yes, sir. Absolutely. He's like, okay. And I was like, yeah. He was like, if you give me this program, won't fail. Hands down. I was like, I'm done. He was like, okay. Got the program. Went to the program, and I'd been to programs before numerous times. Yep. So I knew how you were successful, how you're not successful. So went to the program, submerged myself in it. I'm speaking in all the groups. I'm volunteering to do this.
And it was either program or go to prison.
Yeah, or prison. Yeah, and it was like that deal to go to a program was not on the table. It was like it was like a low term, a mid term, and a high term in prison, and that was it. And for some reason, this judge felt like offering me a program.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't tell me, dude, like...
Yeah, that's all God.
Oh, bro. I mean, there's so many examples in my life where God, you know what I mean? So it's like, what does he have in store for me? I don't know. But there's obviously a reason, and here I am sharing everything today.
Oh, yeah.
So go to the program and start crushing it, bro. Sharing. They would call and ask for help, and I'd volunteer to help out. Boom, they'd have like an estate sale. Okay, cool. I'm helping. Going. Boom. So I'm like, riding around with all the managers there. They all like me. I'm just whatever. And so it got to the point where they were like, they didn't even call and ask for help. They just would call and be like, hey, get Anthony. Okay, cool. I'm going to help. So I ended up like riding around with a program director everywhere. We're riding around these estate sales. They're like, oh, that guy Anthony's really good. We want him to come back. So I'm just like doing everything. I'm going working for these estate sales. I'm like moving vehicles for them. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. Crushing it. Start hitting the gym again, bro. I'm so glad to get back in the gym, and I'm starting, getting the gym, getting big, and repairing relationships with family. Everything's going on the just skyrocketing. Yep. And decided to get my my upper arc implanted. I had got my front teeth knocked out a long time ago. Had a couple teeth going bad. Was like, okay, 4 implants is the price of doing the whole thing. Run the whole thing. So I go get all my upper teeth extracted, one sitting, have this, temporary in, and it's about 2 days later, I'm at the house kind of recovering, and it's a Wednesday, and I see a lady from the office, and she's like, yeah, you have some visitors. And at first I'm like, cool, I got some visitors, nice. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's Wednesday. Get up, look out the window, and it's a bunch of black vehicles. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. And so in comes some dude with a badge around his neck. And he's like, "You Anthony Autry?" I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "I have a federal warrant for you." I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "That means you have to come with us." I was like, "Can I call my attorney?" He's like, "Yeah, when we get in the car." I'm like, "All right." So they take me, get me in the car. Don't take any of my I had like mouthwash, antibiotics, all sorts of stuff just for my mouth because I just had major surgery. They don't let me take, I can't take any of it. I'm like swole up, all swollen. Call my attorney. He's like, all bad. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. I'm like, great. So sure enough, turned out that they put out a federal indictment. It was a single man indictment, and it was just off of control. It was for a controlled buy. Some chick, while I was in San Diego, I was selling meth, had made a buy from me that was just over, it was 2 ounces. And so they have for meth and heroin a 50-gram minimum that can carry up to 10 years. And so sometimes they are imposing mandatory minimums, at certain times they're not. So I had that, and then I had a criminal forfeiture for things in my name, which I didn't have anything in my name, which turned out to be good. But talked to Jan Ronis. I don't even know who Jan Ronis is. He's a super attorney here in San Diego.
Yeah, I think I've heard.
Yeah, he defended the Ariano brothers and like all big time cartel. Yeah, so he lives in Coronado, and his family and my family are friends. And so get Jan on the phone, and he's on the news when they interview like Chapo and stuff back in the day. Yeah. So get Jan on the phone, and he's like, I'm like, "What's up, Jan?" He's like, "Bro, you're burnt." He's like, "Nothing coming." Like, he's like, "Just sign. There's nothing you can do." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "This is coming from you?" Like, so I was like, "What does that mean if I sign? I'll get less than." He's like, "You'll get less than 10." He's like, "They won't impose mandatory minimums." I'm like, "Okay, does that mean like 2 or 5 or 8?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Just sign. Don't be stupid and not sign." Yeah, I've seen guys not sign where they offer like 36 months to in the feds, not sign, fight it, and you're going to lose. And they end up getting like 20 years, which kind of blows my mind. It's like, how can you justify giving someone for a certain crime 36 months? How is it justifiable to give them 20 years? I don't support being lenient on crime. I do think I think the punishment should fit the crime, but I do think people need to be getting in more trouble than they're getting in now. I think it's ridiculous what's going on today. A guy can stab a female on the subway, and now you got people making a GoFundMe account. Absolutely not, bro.
Crazy.
That's just that got me so upset the other day, and then seeing all the people on the subway just around them not doing anything about it, and let this poor young girl bleed out. Like, this is not about race or anything. This is about like moral standards, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. So So.
So you signed.
So I signed. Didn't impose mandatory minimums. Gave me 77 months. They offered 90 months. I think they knew like I was on the straight and narrow, and I think that's why they hit me. It's like I was done. Was not selling dope anymore. I'm on the straight and narrow. They're like, okay, we got to get him for something. You know what I mean? You got to justify all the money spent for investigations or whatever. Get him on something. So that they offered 90 months. I was like, hey, let's ask for 50 months. And so the judge gave 77 months, which is an extensive amount of time for 2 ounces of dope.
Yeah.
6.5 years for 2 ounces of dope. If that's a state case, it's maybe 1, 2, or 3 years, low, medium, high.
Yep.
So, but I take full responsibility for it. It's something I did. I take accountability. I feel only when somebody takes accountability for anything in life can they at that point make a change.
Yep.
Period. All that excuses, all that victim mentality, you're not making any changes. You're stuck. You're not going nowhere. Yeah, not having it. So, go to federal prison. So I know how to program, know how to do time. And so I'm like, I'm just going to take this time and make the most out of it. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to get in good physical shape. I'm going to come out. I'm going to do everything I can to where I come out, I hit the ground running. And I knew also that at that point, I gave my life to Christ. I gave my life to God. Everything's good and evil, bro. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm on the straight and narrow, and now this bad thing happens. Where's that coming from? It's coming from the enemy,
Yep.
Okay. So staying on track, keeping my faith, getting up early, reading my Bible.
How was federal prison compared to what you had experienced?
It's a different program, man. Different program. Everything's segregated, but not to the extent. Everybody sits at different tables. You've got separate TVs, but they're just up in the day room. Things are way more relaxed. People are playing games together. It's not the same. California politics is a lot different than I mean,
You
there's
say it was more laxed than
more lax.
Really?
It also just depends where you are, if you're. I was at a medium. A lot of federal penitentiaries are very similar to like California
Yeah,
state prisons.
right.
Yeah, it's like Victorville, all these places. It's people are dying. People are getting killed all the time. So I got very fortunate. I had high points, but I came on a management variable. Again, everything's assessed. The feds look at everything. So I had been a while since I had been in trouble. They saw that I was on the straight and narrow, so I went to a medium. I had if I had gotten in any trouble at the medium, I could have gone to the penitentiary. So I wasn't trying to do anything wrong anyways.
Yeah.
But so different kind of program there. It's very just different. It's not the same. So I just kept my blinders on. They have sex offenders there that they're on main line, but if you touch a sex offender, it's a hate crime, and it's an automatic 5-year add charge to whatever charge they want to throw on top of it. Yeah. So, but they're in their cells, like they cannot be hanging out in the day room.
Yeah.
Like there's still mandatory protocol for them. They don't get to just frolic around the day room. They have to be in their cells. Period. But so I just kept blinders on. I just didn't try to. I wasn't a rep while I was there. I just ran my program, did my thing, and got out of there.
And were you with the same thing? You were with the whites, but you were able to play games with everybody else, or
Yeah, I'm not big on playing games. I was never big on playing games.
Yeah.
It was always a liability. That's where a lot of problems occurred. People playing games, debts, all those things are the biggest. Whenever anything ever happens, it's always because somebody was playing a game or somebody's in debt. So any of the major things that were causes for people to have issues, I'm good, bro. I'm not playing cards. I'm not racking up debts with anybody. I'm not doing it. No liabilities. So just really started crushing myself in federal prison, working on myself. I'm always reading personal development stuff. I'm not reading any fiction books. I'm not. I'm working.
Yep.
And time goes by. I get a college degree through correspondence. Go to a college. I have them send me material. I buy textbooks. I do the work, send it back, proctor tests. Was able to get a degree, business management, hospitality. I was going to come back out and work for the restaurants again. So get a degree. I end up doing an RDAP program, which is residential drug abuse program. It's a 1-year program in custody. It's a separate unit, but it's on main line. It's not any kind of separate housing, anything like that, And so go to RDAP. I end up being a mentor in the program just because people knew, I'm just trying to better myself. And that comes up to where, I've been reading some of Jocko's stuff and originally came across it for business reasons. I was getting the Wall Street Journal sent to me just because I like to, educate myself. So I'd seen in there, I came across some of his stuff earlier when I was in Orange County Jail while I was waiting to get sentenced for the feds. Buddy gave me The Dichotomy of Leadership. Read it. I'm like, it was a killer book. Some deputies saw me reading that. They're like, what are you doing reading Jocko stuff, man? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. And so then read Extreme Ownership.
Yep.
And then was reading Discipline Equals Freedom, which is a good just bullet point list on how to stay on the path, no excuses, application of discipline,
Yep.
nature versus nurture, etc. So I was reading that book in the unit to guys, and just because I was really resonating with me, I was had even written some of that stuff out longhand and sent it to my niece who's screwing up, is all screwed up on drugs. I was sending it to my brother, my half brother. I'm like, here, give this to your daughter, man. And I was giving it to him too because he's overweight, and I'm like, no sugar-coated lies. I sent that one to him. I'm like, come on, bro. So pushing these dudes from prison.
Yes.
And so get out. And
How long were you in on this stretch?
4 years and change.
4 and change.
4 and change. Yep. So it ended up being the longest stretch that I had done
in a row.
Yeah, in a row.
Wow.
So, but altogether, it's been, I've been trying to throw a number on it. I'd say it was maybe about 10 years total, something like
10
that.
total years in.
Something like that. Yeah, the whole madness started when I was 30. Didn't get out until I was 41. Now, by the grace of God, just how I operate and what I've been doing, I've terminated federal probation early. So I've been, all the good things have really happened since I've gotten out.
So you got out at 41.
Got out at 41.
You're 43 now.
Yes, sir.
This is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Incredible, dude.
Yeah, and it
Absolutely incredible.
the growth anyone's seen with any kind of social media has only been the last year. The first year I got out,
Man.
first I got out, and so my brother Danny was like, he knew what I was like, all the stuff I was with Jocko and everything, stuff that I was reading. So he takes me over to Victory MMA, Jocko's gym,
Yep.
and buddy he went to high school with has been a backer for some of the business stuff that they do. He's part owner, and another part owner, Joe. Shout out to Joe. What's up, dude? He has done some time, and so he's part owner, also manager of the gym, and so they just welcomed me to the gym. They were like, they knew that I was on this path. I'm a different person, and I'm all about training. And so I've started going there, training jujitsu, a bunch of no-gi stuff, no pajama party for me, really. So training, rolling,
Wow.
and I'm just really in my, like, I'm not associating with anybody, bro. I'm not on social media. I first went to the halfway house. Guys usually spend months there. I got home confinement within a few weeks. I just was talking to my case manager. Hey, what do I do to get on home confinement? This, and this. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Taking care of business, submitting paperwork, get home confinement or house arrest, ankle monitor within 3 weeks. Get it, go to my mom's house, but it's still a very tight rope. I got to have a daily sheet that I fill out that says where I'm at from what time to this time every day of the week, and then I got to submit that a week ahead of time with my case manager. And they're not letting you do a bunch of, it's like you need to go to work. You know, they were allowing me to go to the gym, which was cool. So it was like I'd go to the gym. I'd wake up at 2:30, go to 24 Hour Fitness because I didn't know of a better gym. Go to work out at 24. Then I started off with the Ironworkers Union. I had to be on the yard by like 6:37. Wrench iron all day long, get off, go to jujitsu, in the afternoon class, get off, go home, eat food, go to sleep, repeat. And I did that for like 8 months. The job switched in the 8 months I ended up getting away because, dude, my hands would swell so bad, like it would wake me up at night. I couldn't sleep. Like dudes get carpal tunnel like right away in Ironworkers Union. It's just not. I'm like, how do you guys fix this? They're like, you can't. And I'm like, so dudes just do that because that you can make the most money. Like you start off getting like, almost $30 an hour plus $6 an hour vacation pay. So if guys comes out or whatever and they're making that much money an hour, that's really good.
Yeah.
But so not socializing with anybody, get away from the Ironworkers Union because I couldn't even like work out. I was like, I'm not going to throw my health away for this job, And so started working for the restaurants because that was kind of the plan. Got in, started managing a location.
Which restaurants?
The family's restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Spiro's?
Spiro's. So there's one in Coronado. They opened one in La Jolla at the end of Prospect, at the very, very, very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't agree on the location. So, that one has not been very profitable at all, if it has been. But Coronado's a workhorse.
Yeah.
They have a concession stand in Petco Park. I came on, started managing. I actually also then opened a ghost kitchen, which was brought to my attention, was thought to be a good idea, not only by myself, but the active general manager. But I took that as a project, opened it up by SDSU, which is now currently closed. It didn't work out very well.
Yeah.
The numbers weren't as they appeared what the numbers they showed us were not exactly the numbers that when we got in there and were active were coming through. But that's a whole nother story. Got into operations. First thing I got in there and was like, it was not ran very well. The accounting firm was not with the company. Why? Books weren't being done. Brought it back on the accounting firm. Cleaning up, doing a lot of stuff. Working with family is challenging. Say that. And so I was with him for a while. I was with him, just until recently. But had been with them and I was going to jiu-jitsu, and the first person that I ever talked to was my buddy Ray, man. And he sees me in the locker room, and he's like, hey, you own a restaurant or something in Coronado? And I'm like, what'd you say? I'm like, who are you, bro? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, he's like, yeah, well, I live there. He's like, I saw you in the restaurant. It was like closed, and you had like a suit on or something. I'm like, okay. And so I inquire about this dude. And he's like he's about like late 30s, mid late 30s, owns a few businesses. And I'm like, okay, I can talk to this dude. It's fine. And so we started talking. He gets to know me. And I had came out with the mindset of wanting to give back, wanting to be of service. And so he's like, dude, he's like, you know, how you run. He's like, you're super disciplined, because I try and get him to come to the gym with me. He just, you know, whatever. And so just how I just took my program from prison and I brought it to the outside world. And it was just like, still get up early, still hit my Bible being the first thing that I do, you know, stretch, you know, there's just a whole long protocol of things that I have that really makes me function properly to where the rest of my day is good. That morning time is the most important part of my day. I think a lot of other people would agree with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Restaurants. So he was Ray's telling me about, you know, guys are online. I hadn't been online, you know, still. And, but I thought about it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, man. Like maybe, you know, that's kind of something where I can kind of give back. I'm helping other people. Okay. That's speaking my language, you know? And so checked it out and started an Instagram, and just was kind of posting a couple of things on there. At that point in time, I'd been praying to God for a wife. Ever since I had gotten home and I was on home confinement, I'm like, Lord, I'm done. I'm ready. Like this would be the next step. My wife, you know, I can start, you know, family. Praying, bro, every night. You know, I'm super structured in my routine. So it's like, you know, day, you know, eat, bed, read, book down, pray, ask God for a wife, like every day for like 8 months. And finally I'm using the phone a little bit now. I got on social media, created an account, hadn't done too much with it, but I was getting on these Christian dating apps. And the girls on the Christian dating apps were not very Christian. Like they're just, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of weird. You know, it was like, I don't know. Just my version of Christianity was not their version of Christianity. My version of Christianity is not that weak, soft Christianity. You know, you seen that real, my version of Christianity is a Christianity that has defeated these empires that have tried to take over. That's my Christianity. That's a whole nother topic. But we just didn't line up on a lot of things, or some things, or just whatever. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? This is not working. I was like, I guess maybe I'll meet a girl in church. This is going to mess up my timeline, but you know, God's will. And so my same buddy Ray was like on this dating app Hinge. I was like, I'm not trying to get on a regular dating app, bro. No. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, fine. I'll do it. But you know what? I'm going to say like, my faith is number one. Like I'm sober. Like don't hit me for a hookup. Like I was just like talking smack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
the opposite what these things are.
Yeah, exactly. And sure enough, I'm like I'm swiping and stuff and like looking at details like, you know, is your faith important to you? Like where does that rank? If that's not number one, you're getting swiped, you know what I mean? If that's even listed, you know. And I come across this, you know, and actually it's funny, like, because initially you look at the picture, of course, and so there was this picture, and it was like in this like cave or something, and she had this outfit on and this hat, and I'm like, okay, I can work with that, you know.
In a cave.
Yeah, it was like a sand. I don't know, it was pretty, man. It looked like kind of like one of those like sandstone caves.
Oh, yeah,
It's got like the waves on it, so it's, you know, she's got her picture going on, man. You know, she's got the good backdrop, nice, beautiful body, you know. And but so I look at the details, and so you know there's some of my language in there, you know, faith and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool, and I'm like and I like pause, and I'm like, and I get stuck, and I'm like, huh, okay, and I'm stuck, and I'm like, okay, all right, and so I swipe the right way, whichever way that is, you know, I swipe the good way, and
saying you're interested,
saying I'm interested. And which didn't really happen on very many. I mean, it was so annoying. Like I'd be on here just like feel like I was wasting my time.
Yeah,
you know. And so I get a message back, and I think it was funny. It was like one of the first few messages or something. It was like it was raining or something. I asked if she was staying dry or something, and so we get to talking, and we decide to meet up for a date. We've been going back and forth for like a couple weeks, and I guess little did I know, she was kind of giving like, she's like, is this guy gonna ask me out or what? But I was just kind of like not trying to be pushy or forceful, you know what I mean? Just was kind of trying to be respectful. I'm a very respectful dude. And so we decided to meet up for a date, and I'm like, we'll just go to the restaurant. We'll go to Spiro's. It's cool. Free food for me, and like, it's good food.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. It's got a nice view. It's kind of right by the water, so it's, you know, it works. And so get there, and I get there a little bit before she does, and I'm like walking out from the parking lot. I'm walking towards the restaurant. I look over. I'm always paying attention to my surroundings. Got to have situational awareness.
Of course.
And so I see a car come in, and I look, and I see it. And I'm like, it's a female. And I'm like, oh. And this person like kind of almost like comes towards me, like kind of almost like, you know, doesn't really run me over, but like I like to say like she tried to run me over, almost ran me over. Maybe she was distracted, you know. And and so she texts me and says, I guess she was like, it says, I'm Jerry. And I'm like, okay. I'm sure she means like I'm here.
Yes.
And so she comes. So I see like kind of wait at the front, and I can see her walking up, and it's her that was in that car that almost ran me over. And so she comes walking up, and I'm like, "Hi, Jerry." And that was the start, man. We sit down, have dinner, and
did you tell her this was your family's restaurant?
yeah, I think I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned it, and she was really serious, bro. Like I'm a pretty easygoing guy, like, you know, and I don't know if I was nervous or something, but she was very serious, and she asked me a lot of questions, and which is cool, which is fine. I didn't have any problem with the questions or anything. Like that's, you know, she's interested, but it really felt like I was just kind of like being like, you know,
Interrogated,
yeah. But it was good. It was good. You know, we had good conversation, and I could tell like all the major boxes, like I could tell already lined up. You know, faith was number one, perfect. For me, my health, my nutrition, exercise is all important, you know. And as I do that.
Yep.
And the only last thing that I got, man, I'm down to like 3
nicotine.
Yeah,
but this is a thing though.
Yeah.
Like this is healthy.
Supposedly, yeah, it's good. Yeah, right.
I'm researching this.
Right. I gotta get away
so much so that I want to try it because a lot of my friends at the church are doing this.
I gotta get away from the additive one. If I can just get one that's just a straight nicotine,
yeah.
Okay, great.
It's a whole nother side topic.
Yeah.
All right, so she's super serious. She's interrogating you.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do this, bro. Like, she's great, but I'm just not that serious, man. I mean, I'm very serious.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm easygoing, dude, unless you get me serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which is hard to do, but and so I'm like, but everything lines up, bro. All the major important boxes: faith, you know, our opinions on kids, how they should be raised, our political views line up. Number one, again, our faith is number one. I will beat that into a stick.
Yep.
Find that has to be the most important thing. If anything else, if that's not the priority, if faith is not, if your belief, if your relationship if they come before your relationship with God or your relationship with Christ, that is not it. Her relationship with God and Christ comes before me,
right?
As it does vice versa, you know. And so I'm like, I'd figured that much out in life, you know what I mean? And so that matched the other big boxes, like I mentioned: health, you know, nutrition, exercise, all that, political views, you know, kids, our views on raising kids, which today is super interesting. It's, you know, things are different than they've ever been.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not big on letting, they're not getting slammed with a bunch of vaccines. I'm gonna just talk about a couple of things that are just, you know, used to be very taboo, but things are pretty open now. I mean, with a lot of the studies that have come out.
Oh yeah.
You know, so they're not getting vaccinated. They're not, you know, I didn't. They were trying to give me they were trying to swab me when I was in prison for COVID. I was there when COVID took place.
Right.
And so I didn't even want to get swabbed. Like, you're not even sticking that thing in my nose. Like, and so the nurses hated it, bro. They'd come by and I'd be yelling out the door, "My body, my choice." And like, they didn't want to hear that. I'm like, oh, well, you can use that, but I can't use it. Like,
oh my gosh.
But
yeah,
whole nother story. So I'm not about didn't get vaccinated, none of that. So we line up on all that stuff, which is huge, you know. And but I do believe that if you have the biggest box, faith, at your top of your pyramid, this will help dictates everything else in life. You will line up and agree, and everything will be in the right order from the top. And so then when you get down on a low level, like where do we want to go for dinner, and it's different places, you can figure that out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, big boxes line up. We can work on the small things. Like her being very serious, I'll work with it. So we go on a second date, and where we go second date, babe? So second, like, come on, Malibu Farms. You know, took her out to eat, and so second date was pretty important too.
How long after the first date?
Pretty quick, like maybe like the next weekend or something. You know, she was working. She's a nurse. She was working in the aesthetics kind of. She was working doing facials, laser treatment and stuff.
And so, the first night that she was interrogating, did you let her in on anything?
Great question. I was just about to. So,
Like, how much did you ease her into this?
yeah, so I'm a pretty honest dude, you know what I mean? She was like, so as we had been texting back and forth, she was like, oh, so, you know, we're talking, and she's like, she mentioned she had family in Oregon or something, and I was like, oh, I've been in Oregon. She's like, oh, that's cool. She's like, where have you been? I was like, oh, I've been in Oregon for the last few years, and she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, it was like kind of unwillingly, and she's like, oh. So she didn't really go farther down that road, but I was honest, but I just, you know. So our first date, we didn't really get too much onto that, but the second date, we were talking, and at the end of the date, I said, "Hey, look, you know, I want to tell you about something, you know." And so I told her, you know, pretty much, you know, that I had been in trouble, that I told her what was up, and she didn't bat an eye, bro. I was like, wow. I was like, okay. She was like, okay. I was like, really? Okay. Like, moving on, and so that was really huge, you know. I just, you know, I think, you know, it's probably apparent that I've made some changes. I'm not, you know, the same person I used to be. So I told her the second date. Third date, you know, it's funny. The first date, she's like wearing a dress that like is loose fitting and had like a sweater on. So I'm not really, couldn't really tell anything. I mean, I know she was like not overweight or anything. So, second date was still kind of like, couldn't really, you know, because I'm respectful. I'm not like gonna check her out. You know what I mean? Like I had the opportunity, but I still wasn't really able to get an idea of what she's working with. You know what I mean? And so,
But date number 3.
bro.
Uh-oh.
And so by that time, her guard had come down a little bit. You know what I mean? And she's very playful. You know, she's the youngest, and so, I mean, we have an awesome relationship. I mean, we're just, it's wonderful. So I mean, by the third date, she's like being herself. You know, and so I could see that, and of course, on the third day, man, she's rocking this.
She's throwing it.
Well, no, she's very reserved. I mean, as you can see, she's not. You know, she comes from a very religious family. She's Romanian, and her family, she grew up Pentecostal. So I mean, like,
oh yeah,
she just barely got her ears pierced. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
Yeah. And so, good girl, bro. I mean, you can't tell me God's not involved. How you gonna take a dude like me and then give me an angel that is?
He sent you an angel.
Amen.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what he did.
Bro, like,
yeah,
he answered my prayers, man. And so third date, bro, she's got this little thing on, man. It's like the shorts that come up, and it's a onesie, but it's like
a onesie.
Yeah, it's a hot onesie, man. It's like tight, and it's, you know, shorts, and they're like, you know, like the kind of shorts that chicks wear like to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, but then it's just like a one piece comes up, and then it's got like a little string top on it. And so like she had something else on, but we're going to go for a hike. So we went to that place that's like the kind of caves that's up by like Del Mar kind of. Yeah. So we go there, and like she had a backpack. She was so cute, man. She's so prepared. She had like some protein chips and some little stuff. And I'm like, she's prepared. And I think the best thing I learned from the Boy Scouts was be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. Yeah.
Best motto in life, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, cool, man. She's got her fanny pack. She's got her stuff. She's dialed in, man. I'm like, I like this. I can work with this. And she's got this outfit on. So then we go, and we're on this hike, and I kind of see, I'm like, man, she's got some body on her, man. I'm like, dang. And so we finally we go down, we make it, and we're coming through these things, and we get to this point in the, it's like the first picture that we have together too. We get to this point, and there's a ladder, and we go up the ladder, and I gotta be a gentleman, so she goes first, you know what I mean? Of course. So she goes up the ladder, and I'm still a man, I'm still human, so I go up the ladder behind her, and I can't help it. I look up. I'm like, man. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Now we're on to something.
I'm like, thank you, God. Like, you know, like, hey, I mean, like, you can go to the chop shop and you can buy some things up top. Like,
right.
That's cool. Like, I like it. But like, to have a nice real thing on the bottom, bro, that's like priceless.
It is.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And she got that thing on the bottom, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, man, dude, God hooked me.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus, man. Thank you, Jesus. I'm telling you. And so I was like, okay, all right. Like, what? I'd like, you know, like.
That was it.
God's like, dude, like,
lock it down,
bro. I hooked you up.
Done.
And so,
signed, sealed, delivered.
Bro, I'm telling you, I tell Mom, I'm like, Mom, what's up? Like, She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And so it was maybe, I think 6 weeks. And I was ready like week 4, man. But it was like, my mom hooked me up. She blessed me with a rock that she had.
Yeah.
And so it was like, waiting kind of for the right time. I'm just like trying to do, and then so it's like there was Cinco de Mayo, and there's this cool little in Coronado, like on First Street. There's this small little park that's like got a great. It's just right there. It's a little park, and there's like some rocks. The water's there. Downtown's there. It's a beautiful spot. And I was like, okay, that's a good spot. And so, and it's like, want to do this. So Sunday, I had the ring on me, and it was like I think we had gone to church maybe or something. I'm not sure, but we would always go to church. And so it was a Sunday, it was Cinco de Mayo, and we would go there, and there's people there, bro. And I'm like, man. I'm like, all right. So we get there, and there's like more people show up. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to do this around people, And so I'm like, hey, let's go down these rocks over here. And she's like, take her down the rocks. We get on the sand, and so I like walk up the beach a little bit. And I thought I'm being slick. Like, I don't think she's got any idea.
Right.
But evidently, she knows something.
She knew.
So, yeah. And so... yeah, it was crazy, bro. It was probably one of the most difficult things I'd done is drop to a knee, and propose. But did it, it's all about doing the uncomfortable in life.
Wow.
That's where the growth is at. I've never done that before. I've never been married, never proposed, never nothing that. And same with her. She's never been married, never, none of that stuff, no kids. And so it was the first time for both of us. And yeah, it was sweet, bro.
Wow.
She said yes. And, man, just.
Was she emotional? Was she crying?
No, she was kind of like,
serious?
she was in shock, bro.
You were shocked?
Yeah.
You were shocked? Did you know it was coming?
Just that day, I knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming? Yeah.
Yeah, she's smart, man. Yeah.
Going down to one knee, that was harder than stealing cars, and
Bro.
way harder.
Yeah. All the high speed. Dude, I've left out. I mean, there's so many high speed pursuits and like all sorts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. The story would take forever. So she just, said
Wow.
yes. And so, like, then her badassness starts to come out. You know what I mean? It's like, I come with baggage, I come with history. And so especially her family, the very,
Oh yeah.
legalistic type of ish family whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I go to meet them initially, and there's no problem. I mean, yeah, I got a bunch of tattoos, so they're not.
Had you met them prior to proposing?
Might have been close. I'd gone to a couple of family events.
How did they feel about you?
Did
she tell them?
Hadn't said anything yet. The first family
boy.
I went to, they hadn't mentioned. They didn't know about my background, so they were not too. They weren't that happy about my physical appearance, but everything was okay.
Were they like?
Yeah.
Did you wear sleeves? Did you
No, I wore short sleeves. I think I
boy.
might have had pants on, but my legs.
pants on? Oh, you wore pants?
Yeah, I wore pants. Well, my legs are the only space I have left is really like a little bit under my boxers.
Oh, without tattoos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything was cool then, but then they found out my history, and so they weren't supportive at all after the. There was one of her older brothers. She's the youngest of 5, and so the second oldest, her brother, he found out that we were serious. She has a pretty good one of the closer relationships with him. He flew out to come see me, to come meet me, and we had kind of talked maybe a little bit on the phone. He seemed cool, and he had rolled. He had done some jujitsu a little bit out there, and so he came out to visit. And he was like, "Yeah, we'll do a thing of going to the jujitsu, go to Victory. You know what I mean? Do a class or something." And so we went. Ever since we met, it was fine. We got along great. Just a regular dude, no big deal.
Yep.
Go to Victory, and we go to midday class, do a class, and I'm partnered up with her, and he's partnered up with somebody else. We go through class. And then at the end of the class, he's like, "Hey, man, let's roll." And I'm like, nah, man. And he's like, yeah, come on, let's roll. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, babe, I got you. Because she would tell me, like, back when they were younger, he would, pick on her, do stuff like that. I'm like, I got you, babe, don't worry. And so we start rolling, and I get his back pretty quick. And then I sink a rear naked on him, and he taps. And then we kind of go at it again. We let him kind of start in a better position than me the second time. and then but I still end up like sweeping them and taking top position control, and then the timer went off. So so it was cool. He was a good sport.
Yeah.
You know, it was all good, all fun and games, no big deal. You know what I mean? But it was kind of funny.
And so he accepted you
Yeah, he was
for the most part.
Yeah, he was totally accepted the entire time. You know, it was kind of unfortunate. He was going through some things with his marriage, and you know they have 3 kids, and the relationship was really not doing good, and so it was just kind of like, yeah, like this is it. Like it's probably just we're just gonna separate. And so I was really kind of due to my growing up, and just how I feel about both parents, I was really not supportive. I'm like, look, bro, no, like absolutely not, dude. Like they had separated, and I was like, look, dude, like right now you need to start crushing it. Like you need to start like, let's get you on the program, dude. Let's get you in good shape. Like you need to start like taking care of business. Your actions are going to display like you had not been being who you should be, which caused the problem. Be who you should be, bro. Like and work on this relationship and fix this thing, bro. And so he did actually. That was one thing she said that really that's one thing she's mentioned numerous times since then is how the effect that had on her, how what that meant to her. But now today's relationships, they're actually like they're back together.
Wow.
Yeah, which
How
was
crazy
cool.
is that, bro?
Yeah, crazy.
Come
dude.
on, man.
Yeah. So, the family's not supportive. We want to get married, and so she's funny, dude. We're sitting there one day, and she's like, yeah, I've been thinking like, we should just elope, and I'm like, yeah, okay, babe. She's like, yeah, we'll elope, and maybe we'll just like we'll go up in a plane, and maybe we can like get married in a plane. We can maybe jump out of a plane and get married. I'm like, yeah, okay, babe, yeah. And she's like, well, maybe we can do it when we're on the ground, or maybe we can do it in the plane. I'm like, wait, what? Like, you're serious? She's like, yeah. Like, let's jump. Let's go skydiving and get married. I'm like, okay, you are serious. She's like, yeah. Do you want to? I'm like, okay, let's do it. I'm like, all right. And so she set it all up, bro. Got it set up. The pastor from my church, who I've now gotten on the program, gotten on the team. He was a cool dude. He was like did Muay Thai. His dad did time. He's a regular dude. He's got some tattoos. From Grace Church.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scott.
Yep.
So we were talking, build a relationship. He had a men's thing going on one weekend. I'm sitting on the back wall in there. He's up talking to dudes, and God tells me, he's like, "What's up, bro?" He's like, you need to call this dude out, man. He's up here an example, and he's allowed himself to get out of shape. And I'm like, really, God? You really want me to call out the pastor, bro? He's like, yes. Okay. And so he gets off stage, and sure enough, he comes. I'm like separated from the crowd. You got tables with the guys sitting at tables, and I'm like against the back wall by the entrance door, just sitting by myself. So he comes down, gets off stage, and walks right up to me and sits right next to me. And I'm like, okay, God was really telling me to tell this dude. I was like, all right, Scott. I was like, I love you, dude. I was like, I don't know how to say this, but I've just got to say it because I feel like I'm being told to do this. And so I told him, I was like, look, bro, like you're an example. Like, you are a man. Like men look to you. You like, we need to get you back in shape, bro.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're right. I was like, okay, good. Thank you, God. Like, he took it well. So got him on the program. He's dropped down. I think was like 239. He's down to maybe like 215 or something now. So that's been awesome. But so he was the one, we were like, hey, bro, like we want to get, so apparently wifey, we were doing premarital classes with him, and was like, so wifey came up with the idea that we want to go skydiving, that we're going to go skydiving and get married. He's like, really? He was like, yes. Would you be the officiant? Yeah. And I was like, awesome, cool. I was like, do you want to come jump with us? And, he was like, bro, I'm not jumping. I'm like, dude, come jump with us, man. Come on. So he wouldn't do it, but he was on the ground. So we went.
So he married you on the ground.
Yeah, we jumped, bro.
Then you went up.
Yeah, we went up, jumped, came down, peeled the shirt off, threw my cowboy hat on. I jumped in my cowboy boots. She had her boots on and had her hat on the ground. So we landed, threw my hat on, peeled my shirt off, and then we go, and then he did his thing. We said our vows right there, and it was awesome, bro. It was
wow.
like, great idea, babe. She's got good ideas.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So, Yeah, I was like, dude, this little 5'3", like buck something, just wants to go skydive.
Nuts.
Yeah, and then she'll pick up a barbell. She deadlifts. I'm like, what's up? You deadlift? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what's your max? And she's like, 250 is my max. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay,
Oh my gosh.
get it.
And so how long ago was this? Did you get married?
This was August 31st, so we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And so what? Tell me real quick, and then what we're gonna do is we got to land the plane. So give me real quick,
Yeah.
not real quick, but give me some.
got you.
Give me something, because what we're gonna finish on is what you do. Because now I'm grasping this really well at this point, because especially what just happened with the pastor and with your brother-in-law, right? How much of an impact has she had on your life in the very short time that you've been together? Like, give me how much she means to you and what kind of impact has she had?
everything. My faith, is number one. As I've said numerous times, she's, she's a man. She's a Proverbs 31 woman. Ooh. Besides my faith, coming to God in Christ, it's been the biggest blessing of my life, man. The behind all the men of great in time, they've had a good woman. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, God hooked me up, man. So I've just been able to go all in. Like I left the family restaurants, started this business, and went all in. She's had my back, been supportive of me doing whatever I want to do. It's gotten crazy, man. It's like I've been going all over the country doing podcasts. I've been asked to do all sorts of things. I've got relationships. I'm working on my expungement process. I've got a list of like almost 20 dudes that are all pipe hitters, bro. I'm talking about all special ops dudes, guys that are, every special ops from every branch. I got MARSOC dudes. I got Navy SEAL team dudes. I got Green Berets, SF dudes, guys from 3-letter agencies. All these dudes writing me character recommendation letters. Like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
But it's just all from me getting on and putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And I've been able to do that because I've had this support. So like a man is capable of anything if he has the right support. You know what I mean? And so she has her role, I have my role, you know what I mean? And they're both equally of value, but they both play very different roles.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so with that support, and she hasn't backed down an inch from like, things that have come up with the family, like, saying, there's been a lot of issues with her family, and she hasn't backed down an inch, So that's strong. She's super strong, which is good. I need a strong woman,
Is there any way you could like make it like the trajectory, like make it without her at this point? Like, could you even imagine?
No, God's perfect in his timing. It was just like, I wanted a wife at a certain time, but it was just like I hadn't been ready. It's just like God put me back in the desert when I went back to do that federal prison time because I really needed to work on my relationship with him more. I wasn't ready yet. And so he gives us things when we're ready, when the time is right. And so the time was right. And it's just like, bro, every week things happened where it's like just this past over a couple of weeks, bro, like I'd been with a supplement company for a while, and like Jocko Fuel has reached out to me, put me on their PR list, sent me a PR package. I got a conversation set up with the head of that department when she gets back to see about doing something next year because they're allocated for this year. Since I put a lot of Jocko stuff out there, or just like I get that book as like as a blueprint for guys that get on the program. So I've posted a lot out of that Discipline Equals Freedom book, and so like on Jocko's publishing page, and it's a small community. You know what I mean? So I had Origin reach out to me this past week, and is sending me a box of clothes.
And you said something because you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And let me give you a great quote. You're gonna love this. In order to be valuable, you have to be visible.
Amen. Absolutely.
Because a lot of guys they don't want to be in front of the camera, and I
Yeah.
get it. I can't stand Tony, my man, my content creator, the Tony Hernandez. He knows every time we shoot content, I'm like, I don't got it today. I don't. He's like, well, just let me turn the camera on, and we'll just start flowing. Like, I don't got it, dude. I don't. Like, I'm not in the mindset. I'm stretching about cash flow, new business, old business is flopping.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I get it. But if you want to be valuable, you got to be visible.
Absolutely.
You're proving
I like
that.
it.
You're proving
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just get on and send it, bro.
Just let it fly.
Just let it fly, dude. And then at that point, authenticity is the highest vibrating frequency. And so
More than love.
more than love.
It's like 3,000 times more than love. That is
know.
a fact.
For a long time, I thought it was love.
Nope.
And then no, and it's authenticity.
Authenticity.
And so I just send it, bro, and I just been myself, and it's resonated with a lot of people. Like, I mean, I got in a group when I got out. Eddie Penny's you know who Eddie Penny is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big Christian, Team 6 guy, Eddie Penny. So I was in an Unafraid group with his. I've become friends with him. Me and Byron, we went out to go do a Father Foundation event in Texas. Went out there, and Eddie Penny was also headlining it with Byron. And so went out there. You know, like I said, Byron's a close friend of mine. We flew out there together. Got the rental car together. Got an Escalade. We mob in the Escalade. It's me, Byron, Sam, Big Raleigh. What's up, Raleigh? And Art, his media guy. We get out the Escalade and we're mobbing up, and we're all usually dressed in black.
Oh yeah, of course.
And so I seen Eddie was standing by the truck, and we had never met in person. And so we come walking up, and he's like, who are these dudes, man? These guys are like Sons of Anarchy. Like, who are these guys, man? And so I take off my hat and my sunglasses, and he's like, yo. And I'm like, what's up, dude? And so he had no idea what I'd been doing over the last year. So I tell him what's going on. And he was just blown away. We ended up going into this event starting, and as they're opening up the event, Stephen Krause was doing it from Fourth Watch, Fifth Horseman, and so he opens up the event. He's like, "We're gonna have some people come up here and give some testimony." And I guess Eddie Penny told Stephen, he's like, "Hey, get Anthony up there." So I opened up the event, speaking at this event.
Wow.
Again, vulnerable, visible.
Yeah.
you know? And just been great, man. Eddie Penny came out to do a thing at a church out here. Went up to go support him because now we're kind of like friends. You know, he gave me his info. We've been chit-chatting back and forth. Support him at this event, and he's like, "Hey, you gonna be here tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, what's up? He's like, "Well, Andrew's coming. Andrew Huberman, him and they're close." He's like, "Huberman's coming through tomorrow. You want to hang out with Huberman?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So I was just hanging out with Huberman, talking with him. I mean, just all these just huge, incredible things and names, man. It's just like, and it's like, who am I? I'm just a regular dude. But you know what? Like, I made a change in life, which anybody can do at any point in time. Change is possible. And so, and I've just put myself out there, and now here I am rubbing elbows with some really, well-known people, man. Incredible.
At any given moment, and everybody can make a choice, a decision to change things.
Absolutely.
To go a different route, to get in shape. How important is it for the men? Let's talk about the men real quick. We're going to finish on this. Your program. Let's talk about what the program say. Who listening, watching right now is a guy that would need you? They're struggling with addiction, whatever, relationships. What's going on? Who's your guy?
You know, I hate to say it, but it's if you're a man and you're 30 years old or older, it's you, bro. It's you.
No matter what,
because we can all do better in life.
Oh yeah.
And it starts with ourselves, the personal body. It starts with you being in good physical shape. So what does that entail? That entails you working out. That entails you eating properly.
Yep. Tracking the macros.
So it starts with the body, but then it also gets into our mental space. Like, what's your mindset like? Okay, and I'm kind of going these in reverse order, but and then number one, it's some would say spirituality, but for me, I believe it's faith. And only once a man is in proper alignment, when he's dialed in on all these different categories, is he then vibrating at the frequency that he needs to be.
Yep.
And then people feel that. We are energy. People feel that energy. When I walk into a room, the presence is felt. And men need to be operating on that frequency. You need to get on that level, and there's a whole list of protocols that you need to do to get on that level. And so I just work with guys. I share my experience. I give them the tools. I lay it all out, bro. I mean, I do everything. I mean, you're getting meal plans, you're getting shopping lists, you're getting prepping lists, you're getting workouts with video descriptions done by myself personally. You're getting different workout programs. You're getting accountability. You're getting the community aspect of a bunch of dudes. I mean, I got guys, like I said, I got military on my team. I've got first responders. I mean, I got business CEOs, all sorts. So it doesn't discriminate. This is for men, period. Especially if you're a father. You know, because again, your actions are what's seen by your kids, and they will replicate, or they will search that out in their spouse, whatever their gender is.
Yep. And it was coming to me as you're talking. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't just for like addiction guys. This is for just men, period. That want to be real freaking men.
Yeah.
Alpha males.
100%.
Instead of a beta male. I mean, if you're a beta male and you want to stay a beta male, this isn't for you.
You got to be willing to put in the work. Like I can do my part, but you have to do your part.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, if you're ready to put in the work, the biggest problem issues guys have is reaching out. But you know what?
Right,
if you don't
right,
reach
right.
out, there's not going to be any change. So you know what? Just reach out. It's the hardest part, but it's the easiest part. All you got to do is reach out and actually make it tangible. Once you vocalize it and speak it, it becomes into existence. And only at that point in time can then you address something.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love, and you're huge, dude, because guys were so much pride.
Yeah.
God forbid I ask for help. God forbid I reach out. But you got to do it. If you want to level up as a man, then you call Anthony. And he will help you. He's gonna. And what's crazy is you're taking this sick, like crazy cycle that you were on in jail, prison, 10 years, and where this all formulated was from the program that you had in jail, prison.
Yeah.
That's where this came from.
God is good.
Think about that.
Yeah. No.
God used that for good,
Uh-huh.
and now you're impacting lives everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Dude, this is, bro, I can't tell you, man. I didn't know you were just like, this is just this recent. Because the way I'm seeing you flow on social media, I thought you've been doing this for a long time.
Been doing it for a year, man. That's it.
And 1 year's nothing.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Just recently, like I think I pulled up my stats. Like the last 30 days, I've had like 3.9 million views. And I just got 12. Well, I'm at like 16,000 followers now. But yeah, that's
Wow. Unbelievable. Bro, I can't tell you how honored I am to
Thank you, brother.
help you do God's work
Thank you.
as his microphone, as a vessel for him.
Amen.
To give you this platform today, an actual microphone to let you reveal your entire story. I don't know if you've revealed it all in one time at that much in detail, but now if you want to know about Anthony, now you're going to know. Bro, it's been incredible. Anything, parents, mom, you want to give a quick shout out to mom and dad?
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing I didn't touch on. So as universal this is for men, it is absolutely just as important for women. Women, it is also important that you're doing the same things. You're taking care of yourself. You're working out, et cetera. And so I don't work with women, but but how God has planned this thing out is my wife works with the women.
Nice.
So
Perfect.
Perfect. She was a trainer for many years. She was a nurse, so she's well educated. And so yeah, if you're one woman, that's where it's at. So we work. I got couples like I do stuff like I have a thing that I do. If guys have served, if guys are military, they're law enforcement, etc. If you get on my program as a way that I can give back, your spouse can work with my wife for free, complimentary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible, dude.
Yeah.
Man, this is great, bro. I love your story, dude. This was insane.
Thanks, man.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, Real Deal Talk, Anthony Autry on Instagram, Unchained_fit. Unchained_fit. DM, reach out, hit my man up. Men, if you want to be an actual alpha male instead of a beta male, if you're tired of being a beta male, then you hit my man up. We can help you. He can help you. And ladies, and give your wife's name, by the way.
Priscilla Autry is her Instagram handle. So we do everything ourselves. If you DM us, it's us hitting you back. It's not a VA or something like that.
VA or AI or
yeah, we do it. We do it all ourselves. So
I love it, man. Dude, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise,
Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Real Deal Talk, Anthony Autry, Unchained Fit. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Let's go.
Boom.